My loyal day, and welcome to all of our viewers across the world to this live digital Kava session that we got going on. I'm Mr. Alteador and my co-host Tua. Very happy to be here in the southern and northern hemisphere, shall I say?
Yes.
We are coming live to you from YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, and Patreon. You can get and consume this content through various platforms. And I've been missing a little live digital cover sessions here and there, but I'm glad to be on this one. Tua, how you're doing in the family, man?
Yeah, family's doing good. And Masi, do we have to renegotiate your contract to, increase the pay to have
Increase the
more?
pay. Increase the pay, hey?
Gonna Masi is gonna be asking for a not to put the franchise tag, and he wants a record deal.
Mm. Let's get on to it. Let's get on to it. But I'm really happy,
Yeah,
really
yes,
stoked to be on this one and discuss the topics we have with everybody. So yeah, man.
yeah. No, appreciate it. Appreciate your time, Mr. Atearoa. As they say, you know, we do this not for the pay, but for the love of the game, so
Yes,
that
sir.
people can yell at us, tell us what we don't know, tell us we
And
need to
be
go on a
and
diet,
yes,
tell us
and
all these things that we obviously don't know. Apparently,
yes, and we create more keyboard warriors around the world.
we're giving this is an outlet for all the keyboard warriors. What would they do? What would they
Yeah,
do if we weren't here to give them
yeah.
something to look forward to? Oh, Malo Alpito Mel.
Melvin, as usual.
Yes, Malo. And we always have a lot of love and appreciation for the
Yep.
paying members of the Polynesianized podcast. Mel, you have that symbol for continuing to support us. So thank you very much and appreciate your confidence and willingness to support our humble efforts. Couple
Yes. I also
housekeeping
wanna
items. Oh, go ahead, Masi.
Yes. No, I just want to acknowledge for you, Tua. And thank you for being the Lone Ranger in many live digital cover session and holding down the fort. Malo. That's all.
Yeah, Malo, appreciate it. We do what we gotta do. I can't lie and say, am I super excited every time?
Mm,
No, but it's for the love of the game, and there
yeah.
is something to be said about consistency, and that's what we're striving for. And in many ways, on the good days, it's really good. On the
Yes.
annoying days, it's a little annoying, but hey, it is what it is. No different. Our goal is to keep doing what we think is useful and provide value to all of our listeners around the world. So we greatly appreciate
Yep.
it. Speaking of that, continue to be on track for millions of views on Facebook. We just broke
Nice.
2,000 subscribers on
Yes,
YouTube,
sir.
and
Thank
that's
you, everyone.
100. Yes,
Yep.
and that's 100% organic, right?
Yeah.
We don't advertise, do anything. And you're the first one to bring it up, Mr. Atearoa, but there are channels that have 10x, 100x of
Yep.
subscribers, but they don't have the same amount of
Views.
views.
Yeah.
why
Yeah.
why do you think that's the case? you know
We have a lot of people who are very maybe let's just say they're not like fully on board, but they consistently have us on their notification and consume our content a lot. And then we have also our usuals that love the Polynesianized podcast and the live digital kava sessions that they watch it multiple times and in parts because we do have long segments of our live digital kava sessions. So I think that's a big thing. And then I think you mentioned it before. We do have a lot that watch that don't subscribe, and it is what it is. We don't know what's the reason, but I think it was like 46% last time we checked the data, Tua. But
yeah.
yeah, that's kind of my reasons there. It could be maybe educational purposes. Um, I've noticed people starting to mention the reality of the Tuitonga influence empire. These are people that are, you know, let's just say most of them are like really non-Tongans, kind of mentioning that. So it could be maybe educational purposes, Tua, that people are,
Mm.
they're not like full on following, but they can consume our content just learning more about Polynesian history, and they just use it as an educational purpose. So that's what I
Okay.
think. That's what I think.
Hey, we have this. This is the 320 JTA's reason. Must they say it's because you just they love Mr. Aotearoa's beard that's coming in
I know, huh?
and the hairdo. So maybe that's why they're just there to enjoy the view.
Malo, Malo JTA. It's good. It's good to be cute than ugly, eh? So I guess I'll take that one.
No, 100% as always.
Yep.
Um, really, we try to incorporate comments as we go along for those who are watching live. So,
Mm,
if you are a paying member, you get
yes.
unlimited opportunities to comment, and we try to bring those up.
Yep.
Uh, there are the unique. We've only had this happen once, but we'll bring it up. If you're a paying member but don't want your comments brought up, just let us know because
Yes.
we did do that one time. A paying member
Correct.
put in a comment and then asked us, "Oh, please, I'm just asking questions."
Mm,
Um, so um, use the super chats. If you're not a paying member, use the super chats, and we will make an effort to recognize your comments and bring them up. Tevita Taufa Shumako from Facebook says, Malo nga welere yung owa. Ofatu. Malo Tevita.
Malo, Shibobo, Mighty.
Malo Opito. Here's another interesting one from Sione Tupo 1060. It's because they are prowling. Yeah.
Oh,
The
okay, Shone.
prowling is. Eh?
Shone. Malo,
um,
Shone. Thank you for
yes.
joining in.
We're gonna do something here where we're gonna touch on some different topics tonight. And the first one, Mr. Aotearoa, is the Middle East ceasefire, oil prices, and rising fuel costs in the Pacific.
Ooh,
I
big
mean, we're
topic.
feeling it here in the US. You know, my gas was just about to hit $2. Now it's above four
Money ka
dollars a
money
gallon.
in
So
Nevada.
in
Okay.
Nevada. Now, a lot of the people on the left are trying to say it's all because of the war. That may be a big portion of it, but we're right next to California, and a lot of the refining and the supply is from California. I'm
Mhm.
wondering with Chevron and other refining companies shutting down their refineries, moving to our favorite state, Texas,
Which is a
is
longer, a little bit longer transport travel.
yes, and it makes it just more expensive now. There's fewer refineries, but what's the talk in New Zealand? What's kind of the perspective of people in Aotearoa about Uncle Donald and his decision to visit Iran?
Yeah, I think love. It's the fuel. It's the fuel, and a lot of them. I did have a little debate with one of my colleagues. It was one of those
Mhm.
funny ones. I was just sitting there, and and it was a she. She sat behind me, and they were talking about how much the fuel price. It's kind of gone up to 450 a
A leader,
liter, which is
like what?
4 liters equal a gallon. So try to do the math on that to us. So that's we're talking about
Just
four
under 20 bucks. Just under 20 bucks a gallon.
a gallon.
That's
So
crazy.
you do that USD conversion to that. That's like $11. $11 a gallon. That's what we're kind of paying here. 11, 12 bucks. So, and then I was at work and they were complaining about the price and stuff and um the thing. And then I kind of they were kind of saying, oh, it's Trump's fault. And I was like, not really. It's not Trump's fault. When there's when you guys don't have reserves and Jacinda shut all your refineries down, you made it very difficult for yourself to always rely on other countries to always bring you on the ships because New Zealand doesn't have a big reserves and they shut down a lot of the refineries here, which makes it difficult to be self-sufficient for oil energy. You know, to keep the energy, be a little bit more independent because and that's what a lot of the countries need to do better. Even including to Tonga. Tonga, every country can create a reserve for times like this to make it, much longer, maybe half a year, 6 months to have oil reserves so that when there's instability in the world, because that's bound to happen,
Yep.
countries like Iran that want to be the number one sponsored terrorist country and equipped other terrorist groups who have their ideology, and it's the reason why no one wants to do the hard decision that Trump did. So Trump did uh, did the world a favor, and you can honestly say that New Zealand has been woken up that we need to do better in building a much more resilient reserve uh, of oil, so we can be a little bit more, let's just say, resilient to the external forces regarding energy. So that's the big talking point, Tua, in here in New Zealand. So, it's just one of those things that Trump America, because we have the military, and that's what happens. Other countries complain like they have military to do something. They can't do anything because, for example, our New Zealand military is only good for humanitarian service, not for
Hmm.
conflict. You
Yes.
know what
No,
I mean?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So they talk like Trump. They think they should tell Trump what to do, and it's so hilarious that we have experts here in the universities here in New Zealand that they think they know how the military operation should be run, and none of them even know what it's like to be in the most powerful military, or even know what it feels like to be in conflict. They just read it in books and study past theories, and they think they know what they're talking about.
Absolutely.
Especially
Absolutely.
when they don't know what it's like to come from a country that actually has been in military conflict and what war looks like. So New Zealand has very far from understanding that. So, but the
Yeah.
big topics here in New Zealand is about energy and all of that kind of stuff, and we're in this we're in this predicament because of our lovely prime minister of the past that now lives in Australia, doesn't live in New Zealand anymore,
Oh,
Jacinda
she
Ardern.
she destroys the economy, and then she goes to a promised land to get more opportunity.
Yeah, what a typical labor leftist person.
Mm,
Ruin the nice um toy that you were given, or nice house you to live in, and then it's almost like you give it, how you rent it to bad renters. They destroy it and come back, and you have to spend money to fix it. And she's
absolutely.
left the country, and now us New Zealanders trying to who are here
Survive. Yeah.
trying to fix up the mess, which New Zealand First is trying to do. So that's kind of my spill there. Tua, what's your thoughts as
Yeah.
I'm American living here, going through the issues here. What is it like over there? This
Yeah. I
is
mean,
yeah.
it's not fun paying,
Mm,
kind of close to double now. And I do think it's funny to hear people here in the US that under Joe Biden we didn't need a war, but gas was around that price, right? Like when I came into Nevada, when I moved in, it was already over $4.
mm.
But we weren't at war. We weren't doing anything. He just shut down oil and production and so forth. Um, but yeah,
Quick question, Tua.
it sounds like you're gonna say something.
No, quick question. Did the Venezuelan oil that Trump mentioned, is that being kicked in, or is that just went to reserves? What? Just help me understand that, or is that not being in the
That's
market yet?
no, I think I think there were some barrels. We can ask our digital assistant here
Mm,
to confirm, but America
that's
is a net exporter.
okay.
So really, the reason why we've pretty much hit the cap. I don't see oil going that much higher because the reason why it's gone up, even though we're energy independent, it's because it's a world commodity. So they try
Correct.
to match whatever the world is pricing is at. But we've kind of hit that ceiling here because that can only go up so high in theory because it's domestic oil, and it's just speculation. But let's ask Grok.
Yeah, because I
Um,
do. Me personally, too. I do feel like $4 is still way too high for a country that's oil. That's just me, my personal opinion on that. Um, yeah, that's why I was just kind of curious on that. So, hopefully, like what you said, that's the cap. Won't go any higher, especially in your state. California and Hawaii is a different story, but
okay. Yeah, well, we'll see what Grok comes up with here. But some of the things that I think is interesting as we have this conversation is I did see a video that showed how much Australia relies on the US. And the only reason why Australia is able to do what it does, just like it is in Europe, it really is true around the world. The only reason why a lot of these programs are afforded by these nations out there, um, is because the United States has the military might that it has,
mm,
right? I think you were
mm,
sharing some numbers as we were just chatting before we started the show, Mussy, of like governments in Europe and how much do they spend on like welfare and stuff every year?
yes,
What were the
yes.
numbers that you were saying? Like 500 billion on this program?
Yeah, yeah. Just alone, the UK. I was watching a UK because they were so embarrassed that the UK had to loan a ship from Germany to send out to one of their bases in Europe. I think it was somewhere in the Mediterranean Sea, and their defense minister wasn't able to give proper data on what was their fleet and what it looks like, because that they were responding to Trump saying that the UK Navy is the toys compared to the US Navy. And they were saying, why is it, why, they don't know the number. They only had one active um, battleship that was out of 16 that was ready to go, you know, and they were saying that they only spent 60, I think 60 million, not 60, $60 billion on their military spending. So that's 60 billion pounds, and just on the universal free healthcare that the UK has, they spend 200 billion. And then on top of that, on benefits and social welfare they spend in the UK was like further than that, almost close to 500 billion. So like either they said between 350 to almost 500 billion dollars on social welfare. So they weren't able to they weren't able to kind of meet the needs of the military because they were spending on other things that maybe the country needs to reverse their thinking, because before you can spend on social welfare, what's the point of doing that when you can't protect your own security, if you're going to lose all of that and don't have a security to protect your country from external forces. And the reason why the UK, many European nations like all of Europe and including Australia, even New Zealand are living off the backs of the U.S. military, because they relied on America for defending. They use it as the free
Mhm.
world to fight every other battle, but then they sit
Yeah,
there and critique on how America should do the battles. That's the funny
exactly.
thing.
I mean, it's just like NATO, right? We have
Hmm.
this NATO, we have all these wealthy nations. They're supposed to give at least 2%, They weren't even doing that. Trump made them commit to 5%. They still haven't paid that. But when push comes to shove, they really, what do they bring to the table? Not very much, because they've outsourced
Nada.
all of that to the US. I was reading an article where the UK back in like what, the 70s,
Mm-hmm.
their some of their navy was on like high alert 24/7. They could respond to a war, I think they said within 48 hours. They say now the fastest they could do it is 2 to 3 weeks.
Holy snap! You lose a war in that time.
Yeah,
Jeez.
mobilization is key. So, I mean, to me, this is interesting. Even though it's happening on the other side of the world, Tonga was facing shortages even before this. Now it's
Yep.
going to face shortages and higher cost. So this is something that really impacts everyone. What are your thoughts on this comment, Masi? Oh no, wrong
Behe,
one.
oh,
Wrong
which
one.
one?
This one. The
Trump
Uhilas
is
thing. Yeah.
Trump is a capa vive. Let's get back to our history. Well, here's the good thing, Uhila. We won't be able to talk about history if we have the world in chaos and fighting each other. That's just my thoughts there. That's my thoughts there. If there's a threat in the world, if you don't have security, and America is the security of the world because everyone relies, like what we mentioned, on American power to protect other nations' freedom, then you can't practice your culture. You can't talk about history. You can't probably speak your language. Will probably speak the person who wins the wars, their language. So that's my
Yeah.
thoughts there on the Uhila's comment. So it is the talk of the world at the moment. Most popular topic in the current events. So that's just my thoughts there. That's why it's important to kind of discuss these issues because these are real issues, in my opinion.
No, 100%. And then the reality is, let's use the example of how Tonga maintained independence. It was
Mm.
because Tonga wasn't just consumed with what happens on Tonga Tapu. They were concerned with what's going on in Australia,
Beyond,
New
yeah,
Zealand, in the US, because you have to understand the playing field and where you fit in the
yes,
playing field.
no,
Yes,
no,
Tonga is
yes,
very small, in many
mm,
ways minute. However, you have to understand where your role is and where your position so that you can play to the best of your ability. Just like Australia and New Zealand, they may think they're the big fish in the Pacific, but the reality is
still
their
small
big fish
fish.
has nothing. They can't do
Mm,
the little that they can do is simply because they have a larger economy. That's about
mm,
it. As
yeah,
as for military might, no one comes close to the US. And as we can see, as far as we can see now, Russia has a hard time with Ukraine.
yeah.
Everyone thought Russia was going to go in and crush them.
Their military is no good. Yeah,
Well, their military is no good, and that's just because America is writing the checks. All America is doing right now, write the checks. We're not even involved, but we're writing the checks and submitting. Probably money we don't have. Um, and then the next one is, we saw that China really hasn't done anything. They have grown their military size, but the reality is the
they've
advantage
never
they've never fought. There's an
they've never fought.
advantage of being involved in battles, and America under Donald Trump has executed some very sophisticated
Yep,
attacks that Iran exposed. Iran is supposed to have some of the best equipment from China and Russia, and
no
they haven't
match.
really done anything, right? Shot down a few planes here and there. But yeah, appreciate it. There was an
Malo
interesting,
uhila.
funny, how loud que foi comment ni ni mas. Pehe au
Peheau ko
ko oh
puri
loud mas
puli
yeah,
ya.
loud.
Au lau, te lau e au. Peheau ko puri whakamoreki America ai fuulolo o Venezuela. So Venezuela.
Maria tama foi Venezuela ia ko ia. Eh? Mana tu I fa tufo. Eh? PG-13 pe tau
Mm,
programa.
mm. Maria,
Ay,
Maria.
ay,
Kay
washi.
maupe, tama e tama kay maupe lolo a Venezuela.
Sika
Kay
meu
maupe.
meu sai teke mau e YouTube e rea whakatonga me pena i pe ta programa he foi Venezuela ia koe, eh? Well, yeah, but I mean this is really important because
Mm,
there's a thousand ways you can apply this to kind of a lot of the topics we discuss,
yeah.
right?
No, yeah. No, and I was gonna add, like, you know what you said, like, just imagine if like the Tuitonga, and even go to Tubo the first, if they stayed in only in their little archipelago region. Because remember, he traveled to Australia and New Zealand, found the natives there starving and being kind
With
of
no land.
whakaofa hevehala, being sad they were on these natives people in Australia and New Zealand on the side of the road begging for money. And he found out they were begging for money because he never saw that in Tonga because they had no land, and that helped him to construct the Constitution. You can apply that same mindset to what's going on here. If you don't keep up with what's going on in your global politics, dude, you're gonna suffer in the future. So that's just my it's you got to think bigger. Don't We always say, it's so funny, Tonga Tapu is such a small island, but when people come from the outer islands to Tonga Tapu, say, oh, motu, you know don't think like the outer islands motu behavior. And then
Yeah.
it's the same kind of thing, man, when people say don't talk about this or what Trump's doing and all the global geopolitics that's happening. It's a very Fagamoto behavior, in my opinion.
Well, and the reality is this: independence, just like freedom, is a very fragile thing,
Yeah,
and world events can change. If you're unstable, if you don't have the capacity to be resilient, and I think the prime minister of Tonga said this: until Tonga is financially independent, we are not fully free and independent,
yeah,
right? And so
yeah,
with these things, we don't have control whether Uncle Donald wants to go bomb someone. What we can control is how can we prepare and be ready so that our sovereignty, our freedoms are not lost, no matter how big or how small you are. And that's what the philosophy that Donald Trump's taking is. I'm worried about America's interests.
mm,
Well, all of our Pacific islands, they need to be very, very clear and understand what are their interests and to pursue those and to be prepared that when other nations pursue their interests, they can hopefully absorb those impacts so that it provides stability for our people.
yeah.
Real quick here, want to
Hey,
appreciate
UTOL,
UTOL, Malo as
Malo,
a paying member. We
Aussikamai.
appreciate it. Malo Ilavamai to the
Yeah,
live
no,
digital Kava session tonight. Anything else
yes,
on this topic,
yeah,
Masi, before we go to the next one?
yeah. I've been following the politics and the briefings in Tonga, and you know, Tonga, they receive their oil and their reserves are put in Fiji. They're put in Fiji, and then
Mm,
they request it from Fiji to come, and I'm like, hey, why are we love our Fijian relatives, they're our family, but like, this is the kind of thing, like, man, what do we need to do to negotiate with these oil companies, or if these oil companies don't want to invest in Tonga to have our own reserve, we need to find another company that's willing to put and invest, because it's going to be for the interest of the kingdom. So, Tonga is even learning from this. I mean, if it came pretty desperate, Fiji has all the oil. They can decide if they want to release it or not. Those Though their obligation to release it is only by the contract of words that they put, but that can change when you have a nation that's starving for energy. So,
fuel.
you
Yeah.
know, I hope Fagafanua, going forward, that's something that he needs to do. If it needs to, because I know the Pacific and our side of the world gets most of our energy from Asia because that's where all the refinery plants are. Um, hope if those companies are not willing to do it, man, build some network and negotiations uh, skills to maybe go to America. That's we need to do something and find something different because that's unacceptable that we have to every time we need fuel we need to get it the reserves from Fiji when we have the space in Tonga that we can and that's the positive of having a small nation that you can have a reserves for even up to a whole year for not for a small country but we have quite big land and even islands that it's not inhabited by people that we can build some reserves there for oil. So, 2026, and this is not a problem that Fagafonua has come up. These are past governments from Agarispo Hiva from 2010 till now that we we've been it's like many European countries just relied on the country being peaceful and people are not going to disrupt the supply chain. It was going to live like that till we die, but hopefully we woke up and learned from this. That's
Unrealistic.
just my
I
thought.
mean,
Yeah.
no, and this is where reality came back when COVID
Mm,
hit. Everybody realized when push comes to shove, everybody's going to take care of themselves. Remember, there were certain medicines that the US relied on India and China
China, correct.
to make those medicines, right? And then we
Yep.
wanted masks and we wanted certain PPE,
Ventilators. Yeah.
yes, ventilators, all that stuff. America got a rude awakening, and that's when the America realized, oh, okay. India
Build your
said
own.
they don't want to give us the medicine because they were using the medicine for themselves.
Yeah.
So you have to have some internal capabilities. And speaking on that fuel, that's a good thing for Tonga and every Pacific nation.
Mm,
Yes, we're small, but you can consolidate it and say
mm.
we will give one we will give one partner access to the Tongan market. And if you're able to
Yes.
do that, then you're not going to attract the big companies, but there's going to be some small to middle-sized companies
Yep.
that we know there's at least 200 million in remittances going to Tonga every year. We know with all the local economy, so there's got to be
Yeah.
tens of millions of dollars to be made if you can consolidate and pick one partner and say, if you aren't willing to invest, then maybe this is not a good partnership and we need to find one or two other people. Maybe make
Yep.
it two so that at least there's a little bit of competition.
Yep.
But there's ways to structure it and then have them invest and come up with a term. Hey, we will guarantee we won't give you any competition for 20-30 years,
Yep.
right? But you have to invest in the infrastructure. There's ways that these things can be done, but you have to think out of the box. You gotta be thinking of how to be creative. And yes, it's a smaller market, but when you combine it and write it so that on a smaller scale, what Donald Trump's doing with the American market, in order to
Yeah.
access the American market, you gotta meet these things. Something
Yes.
similar has to be done for that
Yeah.
in Tonga, and that's maybe the first idea that comes to my mind. To hopefully they can address it, because you're right, they got to come up with a better solution than what they got right now.
Yeah. No, and I did hear the Prime Minister of Tonga, Fafanua, mention that those big oil ships that come, you know, they Tonga does not have the ability to absorb that entire
Shipment.
ship for their energy because they only take a little bit and then the ship continues on to like
So
the
it's
Cook
like
Islands.
Fakahela to stop
Uh,
by Tonga.
yes, but what I'm trying to say is, see, we need to, and that's the thing, we need to build when it's times are good, the reserve that when we have a ship come,
Take the
take our
whole
needs
shipment.
and then put it in the reserve in our reserve area so that we can have sufficient oil needs so that when bad times happen, we can survive for 6 to a year. Because to me, I don't know what we should be able to have. We have the space to do it. I know we probably don't have the government doesn't have the money to build those reserves for oil to hold oil. But like what you said, Dua, we get a certain partner who are supplying the oil that's willing to invest. Maybe give them some incentives and tax breaks, something. Because to me, the goal is to be able to have a reserve that a company is willing to invest, that we can build our own uh, f- reserves of oil. For that should be the most important thing for bad times, because we do live in an isolated area in the largest ocean in the world, and we should be energy independent, not energy independent, but energy um sufficient enough in bad times. So
Yeah. Yeah, you
that's
gotta
just
have.
me. That's just me
Yeah.
there.
No, I
Because
think that's really.
right now we're getting our oil from Fiji when we need oil, which is not good
Mm,
enough in my opinion.
yep, 100%. Let's see here. Anything else, Mr. Aotearoa?
I'm good. I appreciate all the comments from the viewers. Malo, keep it
Yeah,
coming.
speaking about comments, umafana ubito 42 FO.
Hmm.
Fa ua fo, ko ha fua ia. Lau ko fu lolo ena o vava uku o fu loa huhui. Talu mehe kuonga vala ngatu o ho tau kui fiha. O a umai ke ahoni masi. Mari e mua vava ulahi. Maha mei lolo ki tonga ka pau. Ulahi lolo ava. This is this is why
Lolo o
vava
halaivalu, Marie.
this is why Vava'u wanted to be their own country. Lahe
Mm.
laulolo. Eh? They wanted to
Marie.
be like the UAE and Dubai and those places. Lahe ko
Mm.
lolo to umari aipe.
Lolo meheniu, eh? Marie, lahi babao.
Ai, ai awe. Si, o te ke vai ngā vare ke hina lolo. Score two FO, you know? All right. Next one. So this one is French Polynesia's leadership in ocean conservation. So let me pull up an
Okay.
article on this. Is because we had our Grok do some of this, and let's pull this up. It looks like it's an article here.
I'm assuming this is like a huge conference of countries and delegates coming to Tahiti, French Polynesia to discuss on how to protect our reefs and ocean coastlines and all that.
Yes. So it says here in French Polynesia, partnership strengthen ocean conservation. On January 23rd, Pew Bertrali Ocean Legacy representatives met with French Polynesia's president and senior ministers to discuss strengthening and implementing strong marine protections throughout French Polynesian waters. French Polynesia's president, Moetai Brotherson, third from the left, so this guy right here, oh,
Mm-hmm.
right here, um, meets with from left Tom Dillon, Senior Vice President of Environmental and Cross Cutting Initiatives for the Pew Charitable Trusts, Donna Baratarelli, philanthropist. That's basically say rich lady, and
Mm.
Taivini Te Agriculture, Environment, and Marine Resources. So really, it's French Polynesia trying to what protect their waters and make it let's see, a shared commitment to ocean health. Yeah, not super excited about this topic, Brock. What are your thoughts on it? Like, I understand the value of conservation,
Yeah.
and that's the value it brings, but my big concern is sometimes this is overhyped, and then certain opportunities like deep sea mining,
Mm.
they don't give that a fair shot to be a source of wealth for
The
these countries.
avenue to build your
Yeah,
economic financial stability. Yeah. 100% sure. Yeah. I mean,
first,
that's
yeah,
always. Oh, I was gonna just say that that's always a big topic in Polynesia as a whole, right? The protecting the ocean and the ocean boundaries and the reefs and stuff. So, I mean, yeah, I mean that's always important. And a lot of it, this is just my opinion, you know, a lot of the a lot of the Pacific or Polynesian nations or Pacific nations they go along with it because there is some money that comes
Yes,
with it.
yes,
You know what I mean? Um, so, they'll still burn their oil and stuff because that's what keeps the lights on. But at the same time, they'll go with this theory here because at the end of the day, it is a big money maker that, we have a lot of, was it philanthropists that are in this. They love this kind of stuff, you know.
yeah,
And countries that are willing to put money. So, that's sometimes how I feel like it is too. Tua. I don't know if you have the same kind of feelings towards that too.
yeah. I mean, this to me is a more sophisticated version of when a tourist comes on a cruise ship and we provide them a show, a dance, fire knife dance,
Ew.
right? Give them a good
Give them a good
meal.
time,
Yes. And then they
and
give us the dollars and we're
they
like,
gi-
hey, great
they,
to see you.
they give you
Right?
instead of like a $10 tip, they'll or $25 tip, they'll give you a $100 USD tip.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And I mean, and this is, I know we're kind of having fun with the topic. We're not saying go and destroy your resources. No,
No,
be
no.
wise with it, but also understand that this is an effort. Right here, it says French Polynesia has emerged as a global leader in large scale ocean protection and has committed to protecting 30% of its ocean and developing a sustainable blue economy that respects cultural knowledge.
Yeah.
Like, what exactly does that mean? Okay. And it sounds good, but what are we saying? We're not going to base it off of modern science. Like,
Mm.
they didn't have, was there philanthropists 2000 years ago that was kind of funding this stuff? I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong. It's
Yeah.
good. Like you're saying, it brings money, but, you know,
You you
this
know
is
what's
not
my
sustainable. This is not a
Yeah.
sustainable when you're relying on grants and philanthropists.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. And like what you said, Dwell, we want clean oceans because we know, I mean, shoot, you grew up in a lot of your time, your childhood in Hawaii. Hawaii people still live off the ocean. So of course we
Breakfast,
want
lunch, and
clean.
dinner many times.
Yes, of course we want the ocean clean and the corals healthy, and we'll do everything to do that. But like what you said, when modern science and we have opportunities to use our own resources to provide us more, because that's what we all want. We want more independency, and having that independency, we need financial stability and avenues to create our own wealth, right? Instead of relying on other countries and making other countries richer and spending the money to make us depend on them. But to me, another thing to me to help keep the country, green, Dua, you would say, I would go hard on the whole, littering. In me, like if I was in Toa,
Yes,
you
that
know
is
the
a problem.
littering, Toa. Like I'm talking about, you catch somebody litter, like 200 paanga. Like I'm talking about like big things. And then I'm not. I'm. They kind of made a deal that you can't burn the litter. To me, I'm still kind of, maybe it's because my childhood. That's what we did. We just burn our litter. But now they say don't do it. But to me, it's more of like throwing litter just wherever, or throwing it in the ocean, or dumping it in the side of the road on the main road. Like,
It is a
even
problem.
even after even after school, I've noticed some students just go, they'll drink a lift or Fanta and just kind of chuck it. Like to me, if we went hard, speaking don't, if we went hard on that, I'm willing to go hard on that in the littering, because that would make our streets clean, our roads, our villages, and even our oceans clean. So to me, I would go hard on that to keep this model of, kind of keep our ocean blue and our wilderness and our trees and stuff green. And I would go hard on the littering. That's just my thoughts there.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. And that's why that, respects cultural knowledge. It kind of sticks out to me because I feel like these very high energy countries and rich people from countries that have high energy stability, they go and tell countries like Tonga, oh, don't burn oil, don't use oil or diesel engines and stuff because it's bad for the environment. It's like, hey, we need energy too, right?
Yeah.
And renewable energies makes a lot of sense in Tonga, but as we know, renewable energies has its weaknesses as well, right?
Well,
And
well,
then you have to be
yeah.
sophisticated to manage it, because if you don't know how to manage it, you have blackouts, right?
So,
Because the load peaks, and when your assets are producing electricity, you have to be able to account for that. And I
yeah.
just see like these countries that have high energy, they tell the other countries, oh, they're going to tell them, live off your cultural knowledge, and that's better. Live like your ancestors were doing 2,000 years ago. It's like, no, we want to be into the modern era. We want to take
Yes.
the
Well,
good from the past.
we want both. We want the ability to take our culture with us and
Yes.
advance in the modern world. Because if you, that's what I think. It's almost like they're trying to tell you in a nice way to stay poor,
Yes. Yes.
just stay there and keep selling your produce for forever. Don't no need to send your kids to better opportunities in the world. Just keep
Western
doing what you're doing.
education.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I. That's it's kind of that mindset that they're trying to say. But no, I had my thought on the renewable energy. I think to me personally, we need to be careful because we all know in Tonga, you get a category 4 or 5 hurricane that hits Tonga, that renewable energy of the sun and stuff is gonna be damaged and
It'll take a
probably
long time to
take
get that back
take a
up.
long time to fix. So to me, Tonga just needs to. I know they have this, I guess, goal in 2035 to be like 70 or 80% renewable energy. I was like, I don't know, man. I prefer to do 50-50 because you still need the equipment for diesel and stuff because it's a huge generator. You just bring the Lolo and that ship is and if you have a reserve, can get the Lolo or the ships that come, and you can just feed it to your generator or the utility with the or the electricity generator that produces electricity. That's a lot more easy to do after a big hurricane hits than trying to fix solar panels and windmills they're trying to do in Tonga. So that's just my thoughts there. We need to be careful. I prefer the hybrid 50-50 renewable
Yeah.
energy and diesel. I don't know
Yeah,
if you had any thoughts on that, Duar.
no, 100%. I mean, just look at Europe. Europe said they were going to do all of that stuff. A couple really cold winters, all of a sudden they said, oh, yeah, we need to bring back nuclear, and we need to bring back coal and natural
Mm,
gas burning. So you got to have
mm,
that balance, because, there's a good technology for the right applications, and then you got to have a backup. So
correct.
overall, hey, we want to say, hey, good job, French Polynesia. That's good. We appreciate it. Take the investment, but don't fall for the stay at that level. Take the investment, take
Yeah,
the best of the past, but demand to have high energy, because if there's one thing for sure, there is no society that has low energy access or production and
correct.
wealthy at the same time. the
Correct.
only the only societies that flourish at a high level are those who have high
Mm,
energy access, and that's really what drives everything. And so when you look at that, that's something that all our Pacific Island nations need to take into account and take that. Oh Yahweh, shit, Masi, our PR guy,
hey,
we almost say he was a no call, no show. Bakoni, kon fucking my na. What a
what a
bears.
bears, malo.
Malo at
Kwenye kuma
Malcava.
tari le dei ko he tauki popolave he tauki faikava. Malo what a bears. Malo
Malo,
ofa
malo
malo
Malcava.
malkava. Yeah.
Here's a question for you, Masi, from GTGT9655. But Tonga
All
is
right.
already behind. Might as well live off the land and make it a sanctuary island that is safe for the AI robots and zombies that are coming. Ay,
Ooh.
Yahweh.
Mari, Karifia, yo,
Eh.
GTG. Shit.
What do
Uh,
you think?
Tonga is behind. I don't know. What do you mean, like Tonga is behind? Like, I don't know. Like, to me personally, Tonga is. There's a lot of wealth in. There's a lot of wealth in Tonga. Like, people are just. I think people just have a hard time thinking how to make it work in Tonga because they're not used to living in the conditions or the environment that Tonga has. But financially, Tonga has a lot of opportunities, man. Have a lot of opportunities to make it. So to me, it's really not behind. To me, there's a lot of opportunities ahead for Tonga, and there's a lot of advantages being a small, spread out nation that we can utilize and tap is potential. A lot of that could be with the um, like for tourism and even just some of the ability to kind of test out and experience some new technology because we can be like a testing ground for for energy. I think you mentioned it too. Like, isn't there some opportunities to like gather energy from like waves? That's something that Tonga can
Yeah.
tap into, right? So like, there's a lot of you can touch a little bit on that, but to me, AI robots and zombies are coming. People are over, let's just say, are a little bit over um, fearful of AI. To me, there's a lot of opportunities for AI, and the AI is going to create more opportunities. That's just my opinion regarding that. So to me, it's up to the individual to adapt and upskill at this time right now so that we can go along with the time. Because if not, then I can see GTG worrying about AI robots. But to me, I'm not worried because you know you should be able to use this time to always upskill and learn and go with the times because there will be more opportunities that AI will create. My thoughts there. I don't know if you had anything to.
Yes, I want to add something up here, and when you look at it at the surface, Tonga is quote unquote behind,
Mm,
right? Quote, and I say quote unquote because I want to I want to visit this. Let's read this. I had Grok pull up something for us
okay.
here to read through, and what it is a quick summary of Tonga's economy and the situation it is, right? So it says right here, Tonga receives a very high level of remittances relative to the size of its economy, one of the highest in the world as a share of GDP, typically 40 to 50%. Let me remove the comment here real quick and we'll come back
Mhm.
to it. GTG. These funds sent home by Tongan migrants and diaspora members are a critical lifeline for households, foreign exchange, and overall economic activity. Here are the most up to date figures of official sources, primarily Tongan government, IMF, and the World Bank data, fiscal years often. Through November of 2025, so it didn't have December, which is
Okay.
another big month because that's when, extra money goes back for Christmassy stuff, right?
Mhm. Yep.
Um, 559 million paanga, a
Mm,
6.5% increase. In 2024, it was 257 million. So that's US.
yeah.
So 200, let's say $257 million, right? Let's just say, give or take, there's what, 100,000 Tongans?
Yeah, but it is what 100 and they say is 109. But and I was just thinking too. I was just thinking out loud that the advantages of being of Tonga too is we're not because you're a small nation. We don't have a lot of needs to consume constantly that we can prolong a lot of our our resources that maybe a lot of people cannot have. Like I'm just thinking of like somebody that lives in an apartment in the Auckland city. Whakaofa if something were to happen like a global conflict. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Yeah, I don't know. I was just saying that. Sorry, but what you got, Dua?
Yeah. So if we go 257 million a year divided by 100,000, that's 2,500 US dollars. So times it by two, that's $5,000 per person per year. 5,000 paanga in Tonga. Now, with that $5,000, no one is really paying rent, right? No
Yep,
one's That's going to be untaxed income,
yep,
right? And that doesn't include any other money you're going to make. So if you already have a house, which the great majority of Tongans already have,
yep.
and remember, this is per person. So some families that live in the same house, there's, let's say there's five of you, even though there's usually more. That's 25,000 US that household or paanga that household has just from the remittances going in. That doesn't include any other type of investment and economic activity. That sounds like a little, but that's because we're looking from the US where you got to pay rent, you got to pay for your phone, you got to pay all insurance.
Land tax, your
Yes.
yearly land tax. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'm telling you that disposable income, and because labor is cheap, you can, I
Mm.
don't know, how much was the cheapest like plate of kare when you were in Tonga, like to buy a thing of kare? What would
Ooh,
be the cheapest?
man, I didn't buy kare, but some of their kaitunu, their
Uh-huh.
roasted like
Yeah.
meat, man, like $10 paanga, and you get a two-piece of sipi, or two-piece of lamb flap, and a chicken, and you also get a sausage, and on top of that, you get like manioke, which is a for 10 paanga. That's like 5 USD for that amount.
Yeah.
$5.
Like
That's
you look at it like the disposable income kind of that a Tongan has on average. And here we have Americans working paycheck to paycheck. If if there are, I think it was what, 60% of Americans, or maybe it was 40%, whatever it is, even if it's 40, a $500 or $1,000 unknown expense in a month puts them into debt.
That's so crazy. Tua, there's this, there's a lot of vendors now, like especially barbecuing, right? Tunuin, kai tunu and stuff, and tunu on the side of the road. I saw one podcast. I can't recall the person who mentioned it, but she had a relative that had that business, and he said like he can make in 1 week. This is just selling plates of barbecue chicken, barbecue lamb, sausage. In 1 week, he makes 3 to 5 thousand paanga.
Dude,
That's crazy. That's 1 week. So you know what's that? You know what's telling me, Tua? He is having a lot of people who are not cooking everything. They have enough money to buy food
disposable
from
income.
him every day and every other week or something. Like, to me, there's a lot, 3 to 5 thousand paanga. That's a lot of money for one
In
week.
Tonga,
That's
absolutely.
that's more money. Let's just say that's probably more money than a lot of New Zealand who work 9 to 5 here in New Zealand that makes in a week. You know
No,
what I
Basi,
mean?
even if you took 75% of that and it went to cost, and he's only making 25%,
Yeah,
right? I mean, that's like you said it was 5,000 a week.
5,000 a week paanga. So he makes between 3 to 5 thousand paanga a week.
So yeah, so if he takes 4,000, and let's take an average right in the middle, 4,000 a week, 3,000 of that goes to cost. He's making profit. And this is, it's probably more, but let's say he's making profit of 1,000. He doesn't have a house payment. He
Mm,
doesn't have to pay for insurance. He doesn't
mm,
have to pay like a huge tax on that. That's
gone.
$1,000 every week straight into his pocket. I'm telling you, like I understand that Tonga's economy is small compared to the world, but there's a lot of money to be made in Tonga,
Advantage. Yeah.
right? Like there is that's the first thing I noticed when I left Tonga for the first time at 15 and I came back um after 10 years. So it was
Yeah.
like 2014. The
2014.
amount of economic opportunity, there were restaurants everywhere. I saw
Yes.
car washes, and I was like, you're telling me there's enough disposable income to keep all these businesses alive? And it's because the cost of doing business is low. So as long as you're having consistent transactions, you're making money. Labor's cheap,
Yeah.
right? This is why the Chinese are in Tonga. They're
Yeah.
not there because Tonga doesn't give you millions of dollars. They are there because
The,
there's huge economic opportunity.
yes. The Chinese are making more money in Tonga than back home in China.
China. Exactly. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
in Tonga, you're not gonna make 500 million a year. Are you gonna smirk at making 5 million a year? Tell me how
Yeah.
many Americans would love to make 5 million a year.
Yeah. Many. Many.
You know, so we have to put this in perspective that like yes we're small, but it's about understanding the economic opportunity and what you can do, which is why we have long-term aspirations for Tonga.
Yes.
And hopefully we can make it happen because I really believe this. I really believe there's a huge economic opportunity there. When
Yeah.
I met with the founders of Ethereum, I was trying to convey this to them. I was hoping they would support me to build a a cryptocurrency just for Tongans around the
Yeah.
world that they would buy and they could send money back and forth because people don't realize 300 million a year going to Tonga from around the world. That's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money in the big
Mm-hmm.
picture. Oh, it's peanuts compared to America. Yeah, but you know what?
Everyone else is peanuts to America. Come on.
Yes. So it is interesting. That's an interesting concept to say, oh, Tonga small. It's small, but it's not small as well. It's not
Yes. And
it's not too small for Digicel.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not too small for the
And
Chinese people that are there.
yeah. 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 And to me, as long as we keep our laws, what Tonga has, like I said, it's gonna benefit Tongans. The more we can economically develop the country. And these are just families who are just willing to put in the work and find out what's the market. Where's the people spending their money? And Tongans, we love our food.
And
You
now,
know what I
now,
mean?
now, 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 imagine this, Masi. See,
Mm,
this is where I kind of get frustrated with the Tongan government
mm,
and the economic strategy to build economic opportunity in Tonga because they have that same thinking. Oh, we have to have, like we just talked about the French Polynesian, and you need a wealthy philanthropist to come and donate to help you
mm.
protect your waters. There's 300 million US dollars coming in remittances,
Yeah.
right? Now imagine all the other resources that Tongans around the globe have that they could invest in Tonga. Their retirement funds.
Yeah.
Remember, some of these retirement funds, you're talking, some of these people have $1 million, 500 to $1 million in their retirement,
Yeah.
right? And let's say they want to take half of that, five 500,000, and invest it in a
Mm,
business in Tonga. Imagine that.
mm.
That if just like we kind of talked about Tonga's tourism should focus more on Tongans living abroad coming back.
Start from there. Yes.
Start from there. And it's that connection. And it's going to be because what? After one or two generations, there's a disconnect
Yeah.
in remittances. Now imagine they come back to Tonga, they meet family again, they get integrated, they want to
Reconnect. Yeah.
contribute, right? And then they want to come back and invest That's the same
Yep.
thing with to me with building economic opportunity in Tonga. Yes, go talk to the big donors. I'm not saying don't do that, but figure out ways to make it easy for Tongans abroad to invest in Tonga, start a business. There's a great
Yes.
example of this young lady. Her last name, I think, is Latu. She started with a little like barbecue place,
That's the
right?
one I'm telling you, man.
And
Yeah.
then
Barbecue
and then
place.
and then she went into an ice cream shop,
Yeah.
right? Then now I just saw she bought a house that she's going to do an Airbnb.
Yeah.
She was living in America, and she came back and started though. Now she's full time on those businesses in Tonga, and she travels the world. And
Awesome.
she will have more disposable income than 80% of Americans.
And that's the advantage of coming or having a small country, right? You can figure out where your niches can go to, make some money. Because I don't know if you're able to do that same thing in US of A, right?
No,
There's a
yeah,
different market in the US, but I'm just saying if you want to do something like a food sale, see, she came up with an ice cream, a dessert. Now that was able to generate good income and then have a house and Airbnb. Oh, what? She can
yeah.
travel the world and that's making her money. Good on her and her family.
No, absolutely. And that can be duplicated in not just restaurants. I see here that some people are mentioning Koloa Whakatonga. A lot of
Yes.
money is spent on that. There, you know, I if I had the capacity, I would love to buy a kumete from Tonga,
Yeah.
but there's no platform to do that, right? That there's got to be ways to do that, and I think that's something that the Tongan government should invest heavily into, and every Polynesian nation needs to invest in that because we are so interconnected and so devoted to our families and our extended families and activities that it is a huge economic engine for every Polynesian nation to harness their diaspora overseas.
Yes. And opportunities. And you mentioned that Dua, with the people reconnecting. You know what's the first investment that's going to help Tonga? When they get reconnected with their families, they'll use their investment from overseas to build at least a family home. Because there's a lot of land
Absolutely.
and unfinished houses because families either forget or they don't feel connected. And there's a lot of unfinished houses in Tonga that I just see just sitting there abandoned and empty lots. And that's going to be the first economic boom, construction, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Once Tonga recognizes that tourism has that untapped potential of reconnecting that third, fourth generations back to Tonga.
No, absolutely. And that money just the construction guy then takes that money, goes to his farekai.
Yep, yep, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, kind of weather news here. I know it says climate impacts and disasters. It says tropical cyclone Mila and broader resilience. This is something
Okay.
that's gonna probably impact you. Is that the cyclone, or is it a different one that's gonna
Yes.
impact you?
I don't know the actual name, so maybe that is the name, but I know I have received some precautionary emails from my bosses from work saying that we need to be very cautious during this time because we're expecting a storm, a cyclone, or a hurricane, maybe category 1 or 2, expecting to make an impact here in New Zealand this coming weekend. So um, I'm expecting that it won't be too much, but if it does rain a lot, we know that the Auckland floods did flood our airport,
Airport. I
our
remember that.
Auckland
Was that a few
airport.
years
Yeah,
ago?
yes, that's not last. Is it last year or the year before? Yeah, the year before. That flooded the Auckland International Airport and everything, and flooded a lot of homes here in Auckland. So if it does bring a lot of rain, that is expected to happen. But other than that, I think it's not too big of a concern, but still need to be uh, you know, be take precaution or on it. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, and this is kind of goes back to what you mentioned earlier. When you build infrastructure and make decisions on what type of energy sources you're going to rely on,
Hmm.
resilience, resilience, right? Like if of I've seen this 3,000 acre solar farm have hail destroy all the panels in one day.
Mash. Don't, yeah, we need to be careful, man. Like these countries who want to go like 70 or more, even 100% renewable energy. Is like, my shit. Be
You
careful what
know,
you ask for, because
yeah,
right now we're all just saying diesel seems the most.
right.
Diesel and oil seems to be the most trusted form of generating your energy need in any time, because you literally just put it into a generator that feeds the electrical grid and that keeps the lights on, man. In Tonga's case, if a telephone pole or electricity pole falls over, you just put that up and run that. Oh, hey, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Yeah.
But that's my
Hey, well,
thoughts there. That's my thoughts there. But Lee, what's happening, man?
I couldn't find you guys on YouTube. Are you guys streaming to YouTube or no?
We're getting comments on
Uh,
YouTube, hopefully.
yeah. Hopefully, we've been getting comments on YouTube.
This is from this guy. Fawa here has been pretty active in the
Naitonu
comments there.
naitonu ke fotu ha fare kai to pai fai ka kai mo on. Hey, I think ko tui pe marakoa ki fare kai to pai to lai ka tonga no foi muri fo loa ko na me na sai ai. It's so
Ah,
funny. It's so funny. There's three things I've noticed Tongans who live overseas for a while love the most. It's the kumala, whaikakai topai, and they love the lupulu, right? That seems to be their favorite stuff. But I've noticed the ones who grew up in Tonga, it's the shipi is the best, ufi, right? Ufi and like they don't and then the pokatunu. It's so funny. You pick up on these little nuances that,
Mm.
and I just know that Fagakai Topai is gonna be a hit because I like Fagakai Topai, but it's not my go-to thing. But it's just so
Yeah,
funny. He's
Ngoa.
right.
Ngoa is
Yeah,
still my favorite.
I prefer the
yeah,
May. I prefer the May is probably still my favorite. The Fagakai May.
I like May better. Ngoa, unless the texture is done right, I'm not a big fan when it's
Mm.
super fluidy or soupy almost
Oh,
sometimes. Not a fan of that texture.
I
But I
actually,
love
Mm.
mm,
the manioke tama and
Yeah,
May.
manioke dam. Yeah.
What about this one? It says just pay the scientists to announce to the world that taro is the new superfood that all the celebrities are eating and turn Tonga in the world's number one superfood supplier.
hey,
Yee.
Maria, Maria.
it's crazy that even a place like Hawaii that grows a lot of talo,
Yeah.
I think Hawaii still imports like 70% of its talo from Central and South America.
What's
They just
going
get
on?
Yeah.
yeah.
Because
So
Lee, why? What is it? Is it just like a feel good thing, just to show the tourists that they? What do they call it? They have the low.
McCoy,
What is it? What is the talo with their little pond with
Yeah, the
water?
lo'i.
Loi.
Lo'i.
Do they?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that. So they still import. They still
Like,
import their talo, eh?
I mean, not
Even
just some of
though
the talo, like 70% of the
70%.
talo in eel.
It's a feel. It's a.
Well, it's
Then we need to
because
say,
it's
yeah.
just
Go
because
ahead.
the land use in Hawaii is so expensive. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
the
It's
Mm,
value of
cheaper
the land is
to.
too high. You
It's
can't
better
compete with
eel.
Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
Mm.
That's true.
Si tu umari au pito wara bears ye heponi maukava.
Hey,
Hey,
Maukava wika wara bears. This is
water
the
nagi
second
bears.
super
nangari
chat.
nari nari nagi mauloto water bears, eh?
Yeah,
Eh,
yeah, yeah. That's our
iyo.
brother. He's older than all three of us. Water bears. Malo
Yes.
and Malo maukava water bears. Si
Iyo.
mafana to ri mai taugi fai
Ita wara
kapa.
bears yo hapo yake foi digital cover bag e ua. Eh?
Maria water
Tapu au
Okay.
bears.
pito. Eh?
Malo water
Malo.
bears.
Malo. So yeah, we're just going through some topics here, just talking about cyclones and stuff going on in. It's going to affect Masi. He got an email from his employer saying, "Be prepared."
Be
You know,
prepared. Be
what is
cautious.
what is
Yeah.
72-hour kit, Masi?
Oh yeah. Well,
No.
Are you
I
prepared?
think you know what. You know what? For
Hey,
me,
hey,
I'm not taking it
I
serious
never.
because I'm thinking.
Muzzy,
I'm
be
thinking if I don't
prepared.
get
Hey, is he saying be prepared for the cyclone, or are you about to get fired? He said be prepared. That you said you don't get.
no, I'm thinking. I'm not worried about the 72-hour kit because I think I can take the weight loss a little bit and then go on a 72-hour
Fast.
fast. Because I'm thinking that's how I'm thinking. So I'm not too worried. If it was a category 4 or 5, I think I'll take some serious heat. But anything 3 or
Yeah.
down, I think I can use the weight loss a little bit if we run out of
So
food.
what you're saying is you're like, so you have a 72-hour kit. I have like a 3-week kit that I carry around with me. Yeah.
Mario,
Maria,
ay.
Maria. All
Man,
right.
Hawaii's getting hammered again today, man.
More rain.
More
Yeah,
rain?
another rainstorm coming through. Flash flood warnings everywhere. Yeah. So
Fe big if I to malay daw kagay vai eh.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like yeah, I guess except for Haula. Magu sai e loto ia Haula gu kai ki ta vea Haula ia ko la ia be mo Kahuku and everywhere else. Vea
Wailua.
Haula ia.
Eh. Mm.
Mm.
Interesting.
Hey, that's good news. I mean,
Interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, let's
Hey,
bring
Tapu
this.
Tapu Atea Festival. We're just watching Merry Monarch in Hawaii. It's going on right now. They're doing the Miss Aloha Hula competition right now.
Oh man.
Ooh.
I just
Oh.
watched this. Do you guys know what's that Samoan comedian? Um
Oh,
Tuine or something.
Tumua Tuine.
Oh, Tumua.
Tumua. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did you
I saw.
he had a Mary Monarch video that was hilarious.
yeah.
Why does all of the but Lee, well you can answer this. Is Mary Monarch probably the biggest Polynesian festival in the world?
No,
No? What is
what
it?
the festivals in New Zealand are bigger than Merry Monarch.
Like
I
the
was actually just
Polynesian
kind of yeah. It's I mean
yeah.
it's huge for Hawaii, but compared to I think New Zealand hosts the largest Polynesian
Is
festivals
that
now.
the one where they have all the
Polyfest.
dances, Polyfest?
Yeah,
Mm.
I will
Okay.
tell you this
Okay.
though. I Mary Monarch is top notch for quality though. It's gonna be
yeah.
hard to beat the quality of the performances at the Mary
And the
Monarch.
commitment of the dancers and the kumuhulas and stuff and everything
Yeah,
is very very good.
it's top
Maria good
notch.
time. No fight.
Would
Yo,
you say that's probably the top cultural maybe practice for Hawaiians in a big
Oh,
grand stage?
for Hawaiians, yeah,
hmm.
Yeah. It is the big
Let's
like that's their cultural that's their probably the top of their cultural thing that Hawaiians look for out every year.
yeah. It's
They
gonna be kind of weird. We're just kind of talking about this, because Hawaiian Airlines is a major sponsor. It's gonna be funny to see Alaska Airlines there next time with a little, the little
Eskimo.
Eskimo in his,
He's
you
there to
know,
watch. He's there to
with the
watch the show.
hibiscus
yeah.
flower, with the
I
hibiscus
bet.
flower with the
Well, they're gonna, oh yeah,
they're gonna put
wait.
the
They're gonna
hibiscus
change
flower
the
with the
jacket. For
Eskimo.
jacket, whatever it is, that little jacket for you jacket di matolugog na utui. Eh? You know,
Yeah.
I thought for jacket di ko ya kay pitay momoko ka ay hagi for you say
The guy, he's gonna
yeah.
wear the the feathered hat and the feathered cape
Cape,
that the
cape.
Hawaiians have.
Oh
The one
But
wow.
that
hey, but let's look at this video real quick because this is the reasons why Mary Monarch is top notch because of the kumus, the teachers, the let's watch this real quick. Let me know if you don't hear the sound.
Fix your face. Take off your eyelashes. Where you got that from? Longs. Oh my gosh. You know what? Cut the music. Cut the music. How many times I gotta tell you guys? Get ugly people in the back. Sua, get in the back. Apu, come here. If you don't know you're ugly, then you are. You understand? You have to be perfect. Hello.
It's so
No, I
funny.
cannot make them. I cannot. Yes, I know that's my sister. I know. Why on earth is she having her wedding during Mary Monarch season? You know I'm busy. I need to focus. That's so selfish of her. Come on, come on, come on. Nice, nice, nice. Look up, look up.
Can we get water?
Excuse me?
It's been 4 hours we've been dancing, Kumu.
Absolutely not. Okay. You guys don't deserve water. What is this water? You guys can get water when you win first place Kahiko. I deserve the water. Okay. I won first place Kahiko 6 years in a row. 6! You guys never win nothing. No. Again. Don't touch the don't touch the bottle. Come on.
Hey,
You guys kind of make mistakes. Okay. Nothing. You have to be flawless. You guys understand?
Yes.
I'm pissed off. Okay. Because if you go on that stage and you're embarrassing me, you're going to embarrass my Kumu. Okay? And if you're embarrassing my Kumu and you're embarrassing his Kumu as well, rolling in his grave, God bless his soul. From your eyelashes to your toenails, you have to be flawless, guys. Okay. And I'm going to be honest. You guys not all guaranteed one spot. Some of you guys don't deserve to be on that stage. The stage that I was on. Okay, Awana.
Carolina, what is that? Break. What does that mean, Lee?
Yeah, well, no, I think they're good. He's talking about the hula awana. I don't know
Oh,
if they're switching to that or.
That's
Yeah.
pretty funny, but I mean, it's because it's that serious. Like
Yeah,
some
it is.
people take the Mary Monarch like it's the Super Bowl of their life. You know,
Yeah.
all year that's what they're doing. They're lifting, they're preparing just to look good on the Mary Monarch, and it shows because it's beautiful. I mean, it's high
Yeah.
quality stuff.
Yeah, and they're all synchronized movement. Like, dude, it is top quality for sure. The quality.
You know, he went to Punahou.
Yeah.
Tumwa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Him and
his
Obama,
I think
huh?
his uncle, I think his dad's brother is the Tuine that played for the Cowboys.
Oh,
Mm.
wow.
Yeah.
I did see he got recognized for being a top comedian in Hawaii by one of the representatives or senator in the state of Hawaii. So pretty cool. I mean, his content is hilarious.
He's pretty funny.
He's definitely on top of the Hawaii modern behavior of what's
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah, and it's pretty. I love his content. It's pretty funny. It's
Yeah.
hilarious. One of my favorite ones is the the tweakers on Waikiki.
Oh, the sideways,
Yeah,
sideways.
that is a hilarious
So
one.
accurate.
He's
so
on top
funny.
of that one. He's
Yeah.
very accurate on that one.
So the next one is the Tapu Tapu Atea, which we need to start turning more of our attention there because we've kind of gone past Samoa. We need to focus on Tapu Tapu Atea because there's a much bigger group that believe that's the origin of Polynesia, which is very
Yeah, the
interesting.
Eastern Polynesia.
Very interesting.
Oh.
But this is I guess this is their big event. Let's bring that up here real quick and take a look at that. And how come?
Is this like a
Mm,
festival
mm,
of dancing that's going on in Tapu Tapu Atea, or what's?
Like it's a festival to kind of remember, I guess, how important Tapu Atea was. And
Okay.
let's see what this guy has to
Atea
say.
Festival, held every 2 years, is exclusively reserved for countries within the Polynesian Triangle that possess a Tapu Tapu Atea marae. This includes Hawaii, Rapa Nui, Aotearoa, and Daiatea. We were able to speak to Festival President Mario Shamkoa about why the team has come despite the festival cancellation.
Il y a presque 30 ans maintenant que le festival de Tapu Tapu Atea tourne dans le Pacifique.
So it's been 30 years now since the first festival started through the Pacific.
Créé en 1997, il regroupe tous les 2 ans les délégations de Rapa Nui, Hawaï, Aotearoa, Raiatea, etc. Les îles qui sont situées dans le triangle polynésien.
So it was created in 1997, and it's composed of islands like Rapa Nui, Aotearoa, Hawaii, and Raiatea. All of the islands that are part of the Polynesian Triangle.
Et tous ces pays-là ont un taputapuatea chez eux.
And all these lands have a marae taputapuatea on their island.
Oui, le dernier festival s'est tenu à Rapa Nui en 2023 et 2025, ça devait se passer en Nouvelle-Calédonie.
I didn't know
Mais à
that.
cause des émeutes en Nouvelle-Calédonie, on a dû chercher un autre pays pour recevoir le Taputapuatea Festival. Et sur l'invitation de Pariki, c'est comme ça qu'on est arrivé ici. On a choisi les îles Cook.
So in 2023, the last festival was held in the Rapa Nui, and we were supposed to go to New Caledonia next in 2025, but because of their strikes and all that's been happening there, we had to cancel it. And so on the invitation of your Pariki, we came here in Cook Islands.
Et on remercie beaucoup les îles Cook de nous avoir reçus aujourd'hui.
And we really would like to thank all the Cook Islands to have welcomed us here today.
On devait arriver plusieurs délégations, au moins 600 personnes. Mais vu l'incertitude de l'organisation ici, et beaucoup de pays ont désisté.
So we were supposed to be more than 600 people from different countries, but like it was a bit uncertain, some of them canceled.
Et derrière chaque festival, il y a un message. Le message du festival de Rapa Nui, c'était l'environnement. Et ici à Rarotoa, nous, on a vu la situation qui se passe ici. Et là, on est en train de travailler avec les autres groupes pour se remettre d'accord, quoi, hein, pour la réunification des peuples du triangle polynésien. Parce que le festival, c'est ça, c'est la migration du triangle polynésien.
So in Rapa Nui, the theme was environment. So we focused on saving the planet and environmental actions that we could make. And when we arrived here, we figured that the situation was a bit complicated. So we'd like our message to be about being united. And because the festival is about migration of the people, like our ancestors did. And so let's keep ourselves as one. Us from elsewhere, yous from here, and all the tribes here being together as one.
Voilà. On a remarqué qu'en Nouvelle-Calédonie, la politique, les religions ont divisé le peuple du Pacifique. Et nous, on essaie de les réunir.
So French is that strong that a lot of people don't even know English. They just know their native, or maybe not even their native tongue, but French.
Yeah.
In Tahiti, yeah. In
Wow.
Tahiti, but it looks like they're in the Cook Islands.
Cook Islands.
Cook Islands is under a New Zealand
New Zealand.
territory.
And I
so
didn't
they speak a
know
lot
that
English. Yeah.
that these other islands have a tapu tapu atea marae as well.
Okay.
Right?
I didn't know
'Cause
that either.
that's my first time.
Yeah.
Les réconcilier par le biais de la culture. Parce qu'en culture, on parle la même langue, on a les mêmes mœurs, tout ça. Voilà ce qu'on voulait faire.
We understand that in New Caledonia, for example, politics and religion have split the people apart. And we'd like our people to remember culture, that our culture, our Papatupuna are just one language. We're the same and understand each other through language. And we think that culture will be the thing that will build us together.
Et le message qu'on voudrait annoncer ici, c'est la réconciliation du peuple du Pacifique.
So let's reconcile us people from the Pacific.
Et je voudrais remercier les îles Cook de nous avoir reçus chez eux pour le déplacement du festival Taputapuatea. Merci beaucoup à votre gouvernement, à votre population, à tout le monde de nous avoir bien reçus. Maruru.
So despite all these inconveniences, we'd like to thank you, the people from Cook Islands, your government, and all the people that have welcomed us, no matter what.
Dedicated to
Interesting. The one
So
thing
they
that
move.
go ahead,
It seems
Marcy.
like no. I was gonna say. So they. It sounds like they were in Rapa Nui. They try to move it around in different islands in the Pacific to kind of. It's almost like using this festival to unite the people of the Pacific. That's what I'm trying to understand
Or
here. Is
no,
that
it kind of
that's
it
the
kind of
goal?
right. It's focused specifically on people who have some sort of connection to the Malay
Taputapuatea or
Tapua
whatever.
Tapuatea, right? Because like Tonga, Fiji, Samoa, all of those islands would not be included in that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which I was kind of surprised. New Caledonia has a Taputapuatea.
Yeah. New
Okay.
Caledonia has a heavy Polynesian influence.
Interesting.
Hmm.
I want to see.
Interesting.
Let's pull up a map here real quick.
Yeah, but what's the basis for them thinking that that's kind of the center of?
Because that was a gathering point, a well-known gathering point for a lot of Eastern Polynesians on an annual basis, was to meet up at Taputapuatea.
Yeah,
Mm.
there is some sort of divide there, Eastern and Western Polynesia. It does seem like, I remember talking to Danny. Danny said it does seem like there was some sort of a divide based along religious differences.
Mm-hmm.
But there, I
So
mean,
who was you mean this is the time when religious like ancestors kind of worshiping, or this more like
yeah, no, it kind
Hikudeo,
of,
Hikudeo, and like who's the other religion? I
yeah,
don't
because
Hikudeo is the only one I know.
well, because
Tangaloa.
it does seem like there wasn't. You know how you have those koilotu tamapua.
Yeah.
The idols that what
Ancestor.
they.
Ancestor worshiping.
No, it's not. Those aren't ancestors. This is kind of like the god Ku in Chief of War.
Oh.
Actual idols. Actual carvings and stuff and everything. Like I forget lotu tampua tonga, yeah. So there seems to be. It seems like those islands had some sort of manifestation of idol worship, and the Western Pacific didn't.
What I find interesting of the fact that they have New Caledonia, and this is why. Look, this is them over here. Is it just because they have the French influence?
No, because remember that. Well, no. Well, I mean, I'm sure that draws a clue. But if you zoom into New Caledonia and a bunch of the some of the smaller, they still have Polynesian names, and even some of the villages on New Caledonia. Try zoom in and see if we can see. Zoom in and look at the village names and stuff.
No, I don't dispute that it has the Polynesian influence. It just that they would why would they be tied when right in the middle is Tonga, Fiji, Samoa?
Oh no, it's just for the same
Essential.
reason why. For the same reason why you would have that influence in New Zealand as well. Right?
Yeah, but
It's
New
because
Zealand is kind of an outlier. I mean, you don't have to go past Tonga,
Don't.
Fiji, and Samoa to get to New Zealand.
Well, you kind of do, but remember, Tonga, it's Toi is the one who found New Zealand. Or there was a particular kind of mission. There were there were levies either on labor from various islands, or koe o mai koe ke no fo I fo oga ha fo noa fo oga nei mau. Na
Mm.
whakamafola fo ke tala koe mau koe kere fo o. And then they would tell people, and then people would migrate there. So, like in the case of like New Caledonia, because for trade relations, kava, a whole bunch of birds, feathers, those kinds of things. Na e whekau ke o mai e kau ngau e ia me he umotu ke heke no fo I e whangi koro tau mo e whangi u feitu ugo ia.
No, understood. But it's just strange to me, unless they brought originally when they found New Caledonia, they brought people from Eastern Polynesian because we hear a lot of stories about the Solomon Islands connections to Tonga, some of their
Yeah.
oral history and stuff. But okay,
Vanuatu, all of that stuff.
yes,
Mm.
Yeah, but those places are like we have trade. It's like a trading outpost, right? And you establish a trading outpost. It starts to thrive. It becomes a center of commerce, and then it starts
Mm,
to draw people. And then as an outpost, you say, hey, we need to establish this trade outpost. Go to Tahiti and tell Tahiti they need to send 150 people, right? You go to Tokelau and Tuvalu and say, hey, you guys need to send 30 people. And then you send them
Mm.
to man those outposts of the empire, essentially.
yeah, interesting. Yeah, very interesting.
Mm.
We have a paying member here, Mel Tiki or Tiki Tiki. I'm not sure what you're referencing there, Mel. Maybe if you could kind of expound a little bit more on. I know why Lee's laughing, but
Tiki
The
torches. Can
tiki.
you, they
yeah,
go. They have that.
The
Fungi.
tiki. Isn't that the tampua? The tiki
Yeah.
they usually do? Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, so that's what she's referring to, the Lotu Tampua.
Yeah.
Yeah. The
Mm.
tiki
So
things.
interesting. Yeah. I mean, I just thought it was kind of interesting because I was like, dude, like New Caledonia is like way out there. Why are they? But apparently there's a
Yeah.
strong
Because remember,
connection
that's a
there.
great place. Those are great places for birds, for kava, for ngatu. Getting
Those resources.
yeah, a bunch of those resources. Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea, Solomon Islands, New Caledonia. Ko ufe tu le re ye ke ma e umea go ya.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, because like even when the Tahitians came with Captain Cook, and they land in Tonga, and he's kind of taking them around. Those Tahitians were like gathering all kinds of koroa in Tonga to take back to Tahiti with them. Hinai fu mahuinga au pitoia.
Mm.
There's accounts for that in Cook's voyages of how much the Tahitians valued what they had and what they found in Tonga.
Mm. That we have to dig into that. But here's kind of like the kind of the thinking on why it was the origin, or at least the capital of Polynesia. It says here that the marae of Taptapuatea spread over a vast site on the shores of the lagoon Raiatea. The marae of Taptapuatea is the most sacred site of all for the Polynesian people. The site was built over several centuries and is dedicated to the god Oro. It is a religious site where the world of living things come in touch with the world of the ancestors and the gods. For ages, it was a meeting place for political and religious leaders. Chiefs, high priests, and warriors would arrive in outrigger sailing canoes from all over Polynesia to make alliances and structure the development of Polynesian society. So that's,
Interesting.
yeah, they take the perspective that this is where Polynesian civilization and culture originates from, even though the
Well,
archaeological evidence says they are much younger than
yeah.
Western
Yeah.
Polynesia.
Well,
Yeah.
let's talk about it. In Bal Polynesia, what is the most sacred site? That the knowledge that we know. To me, I have two proposals on that. It's either the Otulangi of Pai Pai Terea and those ones, or Ha'am or the Ha'amonga Maui. What do you consider is the most sacred? To me, I'm going between those two in all of Polynesia. What
Yeah.
I've
Mhm.
seen. What's your guys' thoughts? What is the most sacred
Well,
site in your opinion?
the excavations kind of prove that, right? Because the excavations around those sites, 70% of all the tools and everything that were found there were from outside of Tonga. Because that was the Koe Whaigoe, Inasi, Moi Polo Polo. All of those islands had to bring their tribute to Tonga. And that's verified by archaeological digs, and even the Hawaii, like if you even in Hawaii, those the Hawaiian,
Petroglyphs.
the petroglyphs.
Petroglyphs. It's not by they found it.
No, yeah,
Hawaiian
Hawaii. I
petroglyphs.
can't
Well,
remember.
they've actually, when we interviewed David Burley, they're found throughout Tonga. Apparently,
Yeah.
on some of the
Mm,
langis, they found it on
Yeah.
Tonga Tapu,
yeah, but
various islands in Ha'apai.
that island's like the place when oh my god, me Hawaii. Oh my kau mea go just like the kau folau go like the workers, the stuff and everything. Now no for na tol hiki motu go ya. Kai hoko atu the
Kaueiki.
kau eiki mo mea o na wo na tol ki tonga tapu. And then they
Mhm.
That
just
makes sense.
waited there, right? They gathered supplies and stuff and everything with Taikari, and then those people would come back from Tongatapu, Foki ki motu go na whakaheke heka o na toi Foki ki Hawaii. So
Makes sense.
Tonga's the only place where you see markings and tools and stuff and everything from all centralized from all of Polynesia. They just don't have that in Tahiti. They don't have that in Samoa. They don't have that anywhere else.
But if you
Mhm.
had to pick one, which site would you say?
If I were to
Well,
pick, it'd
because the
probably be La
Langis,
Paja, in my opinion.
The Langis are
Yeah.
are just a lot more recent. The Ha'amonga is pretty old, and that
Yeah.
was like an older center. So maybe by virtue of just being more recent, maybe the Langis. I mean, obviously there's more monuments there as
That's
well.
why I say it was the longest settlement of the Tuitonga, right?
Mm,
And some even argue during its height. And the whole, I was just looking this up the other day, the whole layout of the Ha'amonga, if you were to look at it and if you were to clear all the trees, when you come into the lagoon, it's like the equivalent of coming to New York City like 600, 700, 1,000 years ago.
yeah, yeah.
With
Mm,
the monuments, they even say that there may have been canals that came inland so that
mm,
the ships would come into certain canals and stuff. But I'd probably say La Paja is just because of the concentration of it and the duration of it
yeah.
as well. Here's
Yeah.
an interesting comment, real quick, and this is from Tokoa 144. He says, "Kiaorana brothers, according to the teachings of our Cook Island elders, our origins, those of us from the east, came from Ha'amoa and Tongatapu."
Mm,
And to me, there seems to be overwhelming evidence that it seems like, and it makes sense when you look at the map logistically. Let's pull that up again.
yeah.
Um,
Good comment.
that
Thank
that
you,
Ha'amoa was,
Tokoa.
yes, thank you. It makes a lot of a sense that you could use Samoa as a launching point
Yeah.
to go
To expand.
yeah,
Yeah.
go to the east and the northeast. And I don't know, the one thing I wanted to do at some point was look at the trade winds, because Mel has a comment, and because we want to recognize her as a paying member, so she was
Idol.
mentioned in an
Yes.
idol with Tatiki. um is it'd be interesting to understand the trade winds during the most favorable times of travel
Mm,
Mm,
and see how much of an impact that makes and which islands become. Remember, Masi, we talked about, like, if you imagine all of Polynesia, and from the research that Mel did, it seems like Tokelau was kind of a center point for all these guys up here,
as
like
a hub.
Tuvalu,
Seemed like it was like
Solomon
a hub.
Islands. Yeah, it was like the hub for like the northern and the northeastern, because it said even times into like Tahiti and stuff in the Cook Islands, that Tokelau was kind of like the hub. And
Yeah,
I'm wondering if it has to do with trade winds, that you would have more of the activity up in that area where it's favorable for sale in having Tokelau as the hub, so to speak. So that would be interesting to understand.
Hey, this is from Captain Cook's stop in Tonga. You want me to read it? This paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
During the ship's next stop in Tonga, Hiti and Mai found that red feathers, a potent and sacred item in Polynesia, were abundantly available. They bartered for what they could of the feather-decorated clothes and lengths of cloth made of beaten bark, tapa. Hiti advised Cook to do the same. He knew how valuable they would be as trade items back in Tahiti. This advice was to prove important, as several points along the journey the islanders they were meeting would only give up pigs and other provisions in return for some of those feathers.
Mm.
Right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, the most valuable things throughout Polynesia were found abundantly in Tonga. And so when they're there, this guy tells Captain Cook, collect all this stuff, these feathers, the tapa, and all that stuff,
This is
because
the
you'll be able to
currency
trade that. You'll be able to trade that for anything
you
throughout
need.
the islands that we're going to. Yeah.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's an example of Taupeheni, the luxury, the goods of luxury that were available in Tonga. That even the Tahitians were like, ko mea ko ni, ko ke maʻungofua i Tahiti.
Yeah, and it's hard to, if you were the origin, you would think you would have those resources in Tapu Tapu Atea, but obviously
Yeah.
the origin is in Tongatapu, where it seems like what you said, abundance of the rare red feathers that was in Tonga.
Yeah, and they remember the only ones who could gather those things are people na eaha na wiwi ke sene na you have to send people to the Solomon Islands, Vanuatu ke o mai e kawa,
PNG and all
right? To
those
get those,
areas.
Yeah.
the birds, all of that stuff and everything. You had to be a group of people with means to go do that. And I wonder I wonder if they went, did they actually trade for them or did they just go take them?
I feel like there's both. Maybe you had to have some influence to take a entourage to set up a base, because you're doing that
Yeah.
not only for 2 weeks, you're doing that in months to gather those resources.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I mean, and this
Yeah.
is why the Tuitonga asked Captain Cook, what are you doing here?
Yeah. What do you what do you
What
want?
are you doing?
What do you want?
You're doing what I used to do when
I
I
know
go
what you're
far
doing.
places.
I know what you're doing. What do you want?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, because I'm just going back on the most sacred, because like if you go by most sacred with the Ha'amonga and Maui, because that's older, very, very important to our astronomical knowledge of navigating the ocean. And then you walk in the back, there's that important rock. They say that's where the the was it Tuitatui, right? Would
Leaned
sit,
on.
leaned on, and also they have a langi just a little bit not far from there. So that's a unique place. But when I think of
Hey,
like the Paipaio Terea and those other langis on the Fonua
so
Tanu,
this is one of
so
the things.
there,
Ko foki atu ko ni goe ai o tama ko ni goe me Tahiti go na wo ki Tonga.
yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It says this was Hiti's greatest moment of triumph. As the ship anchored in Matavai Bay in Tahiti, the people were amazed to see him there on deck in European clothes with an unsurpassed collection of exotic objects and red feathers.
mm, mm,
Eh?
mm. The sign of royalty, the red flare feathers.
No, and this is where Masi, I think you brought up the concept here. There seems to be strong evidence that, let's just call it domestic travel, regional travel was
Mm.
strong, but there seems to be, from not just oral history but the accounts of Europeans, the biggest proponent of what we would call international travel throughout Polynesia the Tongans are the ones that they reference the most as
Yeah.
having that capacity, and
They were
that knowledge is what separated.
Yeah, they were the only
Yes.
ones that were doing the long distance voyaging at the time of the arrival of the Europeans. But that's because the Tongans were the ones that had to maintain an empire,
Yeah.
right? It's the
Yeah.
same reason why the Romans built the large road networks that they did
Yeah.
throughout Europe. Why were the Romans the ones who did that? Because they had an empire to maintain. Why were
Mm.
the Tongans the only ones maintaining the
Long
ability
distance.
to do that long distance navigating? Was because the Tongans had an empire to maintain.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I have an something that I learned that is pretty unique. You know the village Ha'atafu towards the end
Mm-hmm.
of
Hihifo.
Tongatapu Hifo side. So I've learned the origin. If we have Ha'atafu people who are watching and viewing this, they can add their oral tradition. But the word Ha'atafu, apparently, it's people who were masters because this is the very early time of they were figuring out where all the islands were, and Maui was navigating the islands. So Maui would say when he would try to estimate to come back to keep this fire going for all night, even for months. And these people were experts on keeping this is their whole job was to tafu daafi the whole time so that Maui, when he came back to Tongatapu, he would know where Tongatapu was at night or wherever it can be, but
What,
most
like a
likely at night,
lighthouse? Like a
like a
lighthouse?
lighthouse, like a lighthouse. And that's where the origin name of Ha'atafu came from, was to keep the lights on so that Maui would come back. And then that it kind of just died off because now Maui was the expert navigator, knew where all the islands, especially at the peak of Kaulufonua, at the peak of the Tuitonga Empire, that that was not needed anymore because he could find Tongatapu easily. But in the beginning of trying to navigate the Great Ocean, that people's job when Maui would leave and he would estimate when he would come back, he needs this fire going. The people in Ha'atafu living in that area, that was their job, was to keep that fire going until Maui returned from his voyage. So I don't know
Yes.
with the
No,
whole
that's
navigation there.
interesting. That's interesting because Mel, our very loyal follower and supporter, the Ha'atafu name is actually tied to who their oral history says was the great navigator in Tokelau, and
Mm,
that was that person Atafu ended up becoming a very recognized name. That's who taught everybody in that northern area the routes and going back
mm,
and forth. So it's very interesting that it's tied to navigation.
mm.
Um, this was not planned, but because of the conversation, I know exactly how we're going to close today's show. Um, I had our trusty Grok do an analysis for us.
Yeah.
And it was, let's open up this window. I think it's this guy. And we'll go through the prompt. Okay. So the
Mhm.
prompt that we gave Grok was top 3 contenders for the island with the highest evidence as origin or capital of a Polynesian nation or empire are, I didn't share the prompt. Well, you can get the prompt by
Yes.
it's restating it, right? It says look for evidence, scientific oral history, just take all evidences and say, and then look at it geographically. What would be the most advantageous geographic, any type of advantage you can think of? And remember, this
Yeah.
is Grok. We just upgraded to the biggest version of Grok. So this
Is this the
has
best version of AI from Elon
this is the
Musk?
best version
Oh
from
wow.
Elon Musk right now.
Oh wow. Okay.
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 So this is multiple what they call agents taking different positions, and you can watch it, right? These little agents will say, hey, I think it's Samoa. Another one will say, I think it's this location. And then they
Mhm.
have a debate in the background. And then
Mhm.
the analysis of who is the strongest contender is then presented here,
Okay.
right? So it goes, so it's going to give us the top 3. Says these stand out over other candidates, example Marquesas, Hawaii, or Easter Island, because they combined early archaeological settlement evidence, oral traditions of centrality of rule, and physical traits suitable for supporting large populations. Voyaging fleets and centralized power, key for a nation or empire in Polynesian terms, chiefdoms or maritime homogenies rather than modern states. No single island was the absolute origin of all Polynesians. Ancestors traced to Lapita culture from Western Polynesia 3,000 years ago, ultimately Southeast Asia, Taiwan. Hey, we need a Polynesian eyes pilot or what do they call it, to debate. We needed to add a Polynesian to debate that one a little bit more, but we'll take it. But these three have the strongest claims for being a foundational hub or capital in Polynesia proper. Number 3, Savaii, Samoa. Strong on origin and early influence, but not selected as top due to fragmented evidence of sustained empire. Okay. Why in the top 3? Scientific evidence places Samoa, including Savaii, among the earliest Lapita settlements in Polynesia, part of the Western Polynesian cradle alongside Tonga, where Polynesian culture crystallized after a long pause. Genetic and linguistic studies link it to the dispersal pathway into Eastern Polynesia. Oral history strongly identifies Savaii or nearby Manua Islands with Hawaii, the ancestral homeland, and the Tu'imanua title ruled a pre-Tongan confederacy. The Samoa Atoa Empire, up for debate, but we'll take it. Exerting influence over Tonga, Fiji, and beyond via tribute, trade, and intermarriage. Some stone tool distribution and oral literature support early Samoan networks. Any questions or any comments before we continue?
I mean, you can see where it's pulling this, but no, just go ahead.
Yeah, because we told it to consider oral history, right? Yeah. So it's going to go and pull, whether it's correct or not, this is the oral history that is prevalent in Ha'amoa. And so that's why it's saying, okay, well, you have your oral history, but it's going to explain, even though you have these very strong oral histories, why it wasn't the best. Oral claims of an early empire exist, but they are less corroborated by archaeology than Tonga's. Fewer monumental central places or clear tribute infrastructure. The Tu'imanua influence appears to have declined before or as the Tongan Tu'itonga rose, with traditions noting Tongan takeover or kinship ties rather than Samoan dominance. Savaii large size and volcanic fertility provided resources, but its position was not centrally strategic for long-term Pacific-wide control as Tongatapu's. I find it interesting because there are a lot of advantages that make Samoa a hub, right? Yeah. And it appears that if you were to make it a hub for the proper East Polynesia, that would make sense as a stopping point or an expansion point into Polynesia, which we discussed in the past. But as we've said, its strongest evidence is oral history.
Oral history alone, yeah.
Yes,
because it even just touched on fewer monumental central places or clear tribute infrastructure. That's the thing that was lacking. They have these those they call it the purimeleis around, but that was dating a lot towards when Kalu'ufonua, when he found his assassin, the people who assassinated his father Takalawa. That's when he moved his residence to Ha'amoa. Then the infrastructure starts kind of coming up because that corroborates with the oral history of the Tu'itonga of Kalu'ufonua Fekai. So, I mean, that's another reason why Samoa, it's hard to be the origin when you don't have that much infrastructure, the ancient infrastructure like it does in all over Tongatapu.
Yeah. So that's number 3. The reason why this stuck out to me is look at number 2.
Right. You want me to read number 2?
Yeah. This is basically Tapu Tapu Atea. Raiatea. So it's kind of interesting that it identified that as a central point as well. Go ahead, Masi.
So Raiatea, Society Island, strong cultural, religious origin hub for Eastern Polynesia, but not selected due to lack of political empire evidence and later settlement. Why in top three oral traditions across Eastern Polynesia, Maori, Hawaiian, named Raiatea, anciently Hawaii as Hawaiki, the sacred departure point for voyaging canoes and origin of many lineages. The Tapu Tapuatea Marae complex became a major ceremonial, navigational, and pilgrimage center for Eastern Polynesia, facilitating alliances, religion, and dispersal. Genetic archaeological data show Society Islands as a key stepping stone after Samoa/Cook Islands, 11th century CE onward. Its volcanic landscape, large lagoon, and excellent harbors, Fa'aroa Bay, were ideal for outfitting long voyages and supporting dense populations. Okay. Next point, why not the best? Settlement here occurred later, 1000 to 1150 CE than Western Polynesia, making it a secondary hub rather than primary origin. While it had immense religious and cultural influence, there is no evidence of a centralized political empire, tribute system, or military hege- hegemony spanning distant archipelagos, unlike Tonga. It functioned more as a spiritual capital for eastern branches than a governing one for all Polynesia. So my instant takeaway is it's lacking of the political, which is the tribute. Really no tribute like text form system like the
Mhm.
Inasi and Polo Polo. I don't know what you guys got out of that one.
And
Yeah,
it's just a lot younger.
yeah,
Yes, a lot younger.
But obviously,
yes,
right, when you read the advantages that come with it, great harbors,
Yes,
good place. So that's how you can see
dense
maybe
population. Yep.
how it grew strong enough to kind of maintain a little bit of its own political identity, or
Mm,
whatever it was. But I think Danny is correct. Whatever division emerged, it was a religious one. And somebody in Tahiti had the great idea ki alo lotu tamapua pe a fotu e ki lotu ia ana o mui mui ai e kau tamaya koe.
hmm
yeah.
no, and then that's the thing is, here's what's interesting, right? A lot of this Danny had shared about the autonomy that Ha'amoa got.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
Then we hear about Momo deciding that, hey, we're gonna create hubs for tribute,
mm-hmm,
Yeah.
right?
mm-hmm,
And then you start to see there's very deliberate, hey, Raiatea has the best harbor, it makes the most sense. Everybody comes there because it has the harbor. You can load, unload tribute there. You can get ready for long distances. If we're gonna take the tribute down south, whether it's to go to Ha'amoa first and then to Tonga or straight to Tonga. But it's funny because you see all these little hubs appearing. There's a reason why Ha'amoa says, "Oh yeah, we were the center." Yes, you were the center, but maybe more a regional center, right?
Mm-hmm.
It makes sense. So it's understandable, just like when we heard Masi, where the Tu'imanua was like, Tu'imanua ruled over all of Polynesia. And we're like, man, how
yeah.
do you come up with that? Then we find out there's a good chance that the Tu'itonga assumed the Tu'imanua title through his
Mm-hmm,
mother, Kaulufonua Fekai. And then once that happens, what can you say about the Tu'imanua?
mm,
The Tu'imanua
mm.
does rule over the empire, but not because of the Tu'imanua title, but because of the Tu'itonga title that he
Tonga.
assumes both.
Mm.
So
Yes.
it's kind of funny how this is interesting. You start to see that the data is saying, yeah, this was a good spot as a hub. It's also naming Ha'amoa as a good spot for a hub, right? And Samoa is big enough; they have enough big islands that all the islands in Samoa and American Samoa, that would make sense. One of the big hubs there for all of those islands. Um,
Yeah.
and then
No, no.
Oh, go
No,
ahead,
and I was
Mas.
gonna just no, I was gonna just touch on you touched it on one of when you on one of the live digital kava sessions when you did it solo to the word even tui, the origin of the old Samoan dictionary, right? Of this Palangi guy gathering in what is it? He spent 40 years in what eight what was the year to us?
18 in the 1800s,
18
like
1800
1850
late.
or
Yes.
1860. Yeah,
He was there in Samoa for 40 years in 1800s, and he referenced from the Samoans the word tui is a Tongan origin or Tongan word. So the tui manua is probably a title that the tui tonga of that time, whenever the tui manua was proclaimed or instituted, was from Tonga because tui
yeah.
is a Tongan word, and I've kind of always had that feeling, but now that we have that evidence from the earliest written Samoan dictionary, that tui is a Tongan word. So
Well, and it goes to show, we kind of hypothesized this too, that the further away you are from the capital, and the longer that you are colonized, the further you get disconnected. Then all of a
yeah,
sudden, the word tui, everyone forgets that it comes from, and we have to phrase this. We've said this many times. We say Tonga Samoa and all that stuff because that's how we understand how to speak to each other. But the reality is, it was all the same people. It's just a bunch
yeah,
of cousins, distant cousins.
relatives.
But we
Yeah,
have to
Yeah.
use Tongan Samoan just so that we understand how we're communicating. We're by no means trying to say, oh, the Tongans were their own people and so
yeah,
forth. It was just no, just geography. They were closest to the center. But I
yeah,
do think it's funny that you're seeing these hubs, and then there's oral history that says Momo said, yeah, let's create a little bit more convenience, and so it's not so burdensome. Let's create hubs, regional hubs, and then you're seeing the data kind of match that. All right, last one. You want to
I can
read
read
this one,
it.
Lee? Yeah,
Or Lee got it.
or Lee or Masi,
Okay.
whoever.
All right. Tonga Tapu, Tonga. Selected as the strongest overall due to the clearest evidence of a sustained maritime empire with a defined capital. Tonga Tapu, specifically the Mu'a Lapaha area as capital, has the highest combined evidences both an origin point in Western Polynesia and the capital of the most documented Polynesian empire, Tuitonga Empire. Scientific evidence. Tonga, with Samoa, hosts some of the earliest Lapita sites in Polynesia, marking the emergence of distinct Polynesian culture. Archaeology at Mu'a Lapaha reveals monumental langi, royal stone tombs, a clearly defined central place with elite burials and evidence of centralized chiefly power. Among the most complex polities in Polynesia, chemical analysis of stone tools. Yeah, stone tools show Tongan influence had and exchange networks across the Pacific. Genetic models confirm Western Polynesia, Tonga Samoa as the launch point for Eastern settlement. The oral history. Detailed genealogies trace the Tuitonga dynasty back to 950 CE. Founder Aho'eitu. Traditions describe annual Inasi tribute ceremonies at Mu'a, where subject islands, Samoa, Fiji, etc., brought offerings. The empire expanded via voyaging canoes, intermarriage, and hegemony, incorporating former Tu'imanua domains. It is explicitly called a maritime empire in both Tongan and external accounts, right? So it's
Mm,
verified from internal sources
Europeans,
and
yeah.
external sources. Geographic, physical characteristics for running an empire. Tongatapu, the largest and most populous in the Tongan group, is a raised coral island with exceptionally fertile soil for intensive agriculture, supporting large populations and surplus for elites/warriors. Its central position in Western Polynesia enabled control of east-west voyaging routes, protected harbors, and proximity to other Tongan islands facilitated fleet assembly and defense. Unlike smaller or more rugged volcanic islands, its flat terrain supported monumental construction, and sustained a hierarchical society capable of projecting power over vast distances. Why Tongatapu was selected over the other two? It uniquely combines all three lines of evidence into a verifiable, long-lasting political empire with a fixed capital, Mu'a, rather than just cultural origin, Raiatea, or earlier but less archaeologically attested influence, Sava'i and Samoa. The Tuitonga system endured for centuries with tangible infrastructure, while others were either earlier confederacy-based or religious in focus. This aligns with how Polynesian empires operated through prestige, tribute, and voyaging networks rather than direct conquest. In summary, while Polynesia lacked a single continent spanning empire, Tongatapu stands out as the best supported capital of the most expansive and enduring Polynesian maritime power, rooted in the region's earliest cultural homeland.
Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty
Very.
straightforward. Is there a
Yes.
negatives? Is there negatives on that or?
Nope. Nope. It's just the best answer.
Oh, it's
The
just the
best
best
solution.
answer.
Yes.
Yeah.
The most probable and most backed.
No, so
Yeah.
why is there even I don't understand like what really the debate is all about, you know? Because even the funny right, even like King Kalakaua, talks about the origins and ancestor of royalty of Hawaii coming from Vava'u, which he said was Samoa Vava'u.
Mm.
So that's where the external stuff verifies.
Mm. I think I think it's a lot of people are either don't know much of Tonga, and it could be because of
Independence.
independence, and Tonga's just late
There are
into the game.
negatives of yes.
Yes, to getting its story and narrative out there, because we're up until when did the Polynesian Ice start? 2 years now. We've been
Two
going two
years.
years. Before that, anything you find online was either um, La'yatea, or even with the expansion of Ha'amoa, but no, not much discussion of Tonga being the center and origin of
Mm.
Polynesia. I mean, there was that book. What's his name? Tua. We had him on.
David Burley.
Burley. He mentioned as the birthplace of Polynesia, but other than that, that's only one of
And that just came out like last
thousands.
year. That book just came
Yes,
out like last year.
of many, and even our own Polynesian people don't even look into it. We had to have a Palangi that
Yes.
had the courage to say at least Tonga was the birth of Polynesia. So many of it is our own, could be our own people who maybe just don't want to take the to learn. I don't know. I find it weird in 2026 that that's not a common teaching that's being spread, but I find it very interesting that
Mm.
people
I think it's
are,
probably a lot
yeah.
of that stuff, a lot of colonization, and then I think
Mm,
probably a lot during the time of those major disease epidemics. A lot of history and knowledge was just wiped out. Especially when a lot of the older people got killed. People that had the retained knowledge of it probably died off, and then everybody's just worried about surviving. When you have like places where 60-70% of the population was wiped out,
mm,
who's maintaining the oral and historical traditions of the area? Everyone's just barely surviving.
Yeah.
mm.
And I
Well,
think oh, go
yeah,
ahead,
go ahead,
Master.
Dua. No, 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 go ahead, Dua. Go
No,
ahead.
I was gonna say the other thing too is based off of that sovereignty, Tonga was fighting for its dear life to maintain its sovereignty, and it could not afford. Like, I think we severely underestimate how much unity was being driven to make the Tupo family successful. That it wasn't the time to talk about how great the Tuitonga was, right?
Mm.
Because it doesn't matter right now. Right now, we're just trying to keep the country cohesive enough to not fall into inside fighting, because that would lead to colonization. That there was a concerted effort to be like, don't talk about the past too much. Don't, you know what I mean? Don't
Mm.
explore it, because I didn't know this until Masi told me. I didn't know that there were riots with Tupo II just before Queen Salote became the
Yeah.
queen, that there were riots in
And
Nuku'alofa.
she had to be crowned in the middle of the night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so like we survived colonization, but it was a very fragile and a miraculous, and big part of it is because what Tupo the First did in dedicating Tonga. But there was, I think, a concerted effort not to talk about the past, because it would only lead to some potential division at the time, and it was so fragile that it really didn't make sense on a lot of those areas. But here we have
Yeah.
a few
Oh, I was
comments
gonna.
before we
Okay,
go.
we'll go. We'll go. Go.
Yes.
Go to comments.
So another paying member of the channel, Malo, All Things Tonga, he said,
No negative,
Masi,
right
no
on.
negative? Right on.
hey,
Hey, he likes that comment. Eh?
all things Tonga, man. Looking forward to having you, man. Hey,
Yes.
looking forward. Malo,
Yeah.
all things
We're
Tonga.
doing an episode tomorrow. We're going to record that episode tomorrow with All Things Tonga. We're excited for that. And then Mel also mentioned here, she said that all her research acknowledged Tonga as central.
Mm,
Um, you know, from her research and from her perspective there. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, that's, and then being, when you're, and this is when you have part of the picture. That's why I too kind of sympathize with everybody who says, hey, no, we were the center. There's a lot of reasons why they believe that way, but it's just an incomplete picture.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say. So you know what? Casual observer mentioned, what population being wiped out, because Tonga also suffered a lot of population being wiped out too, with the diseases and stuff. And then you mentioned too, with the reason why of Tonga's really fighting to keep its sovereignty. To me, another big reason. Remember, I've come across, there's still Samoans in their 80s and 70s that still remember that when they were under German and British rule, it was so bad. And this is where the knowledge, the colonization really wiped out a lot of the oral history, in my opinion, or played a big part. What you guys mentioned. Remember, they said they couldn't buy goods unless they had a Palangi name. They couldn't even send their kids to school, and even movement of travel, like between villages, unless you had a Palangi name or had a Palangi behavior or display of characteristics. Like, it was bad under the
COVID
Germans.
shutdowns over
Yo,
there.
it was bad under the Germans, and then the British through via New Zealand, and that's just Samoa. And imagine, and we all know with Hawaii and Maoris that happened here, that all of Polynesia was being wiped out of not changing their name to be more Palangi and being more Palangi, because that was the way to get ahead of life, which Tonga we didn't have to go through. We were just focused on keeping our sovereignty, and we were able to maintain our our oral history of what our families passed over as less changed, because all of Polynesia was just trying to act as whoever was colonizing them. Fiji the same way, being colonized by the British. France being with the whole French colony. So to me, that's another big reason. If we have Samoans who still remember how it was with New Zealand via British, how it was back in the days, imagine what they have right now is what's been revived, and a lot of the oral history of Tonga being the origin and center, a lot of that's been wiped out, because they still remember how it was back in the days, and life was very difficult under the British rule or
Yeah.
German rule. So yeah.
What that reminds me of, Masi, is when we looked at the Pulemele video that they recorded of interviewing the villagers,
Yeah.
right? Here you have the academics and the foreigners walking around. Look at the Pulemele Mount. It's amazing. Look at it. And then they go interview like two ladies who grew up in that area. And they're like, oh, we never heard the word Pulemele. We don't know where that comes from. Yeah? So this is what we're talking
Yeah.
about, that contrast.
Yeah.
Here is localized knowledge in the area of the people living there. And then you have these academics and foreigners who are the ones that are going to control the narrative to the rest of the world. They're
Hmm.
coming in and saying, "Man, Pula Malay, this is ancient Samoan like chieftain, whatever." And then they interview the locals, like, "Oh yeah, the guy who farms this land, he said it's always been known that this was for the Tuitonga."
Yeah. The patonga, and she
Yeah,
referred it as the patonga.
yeah. And she's like, this is what we were always been told in our villages and everything. And this is when the Tuitonga would come. He would reside up there. And and
And
poor villagers who are have this information, while the academics and the foreigners publish to the rest of the world Pulemele, that's the name
yeah,
of the mound.
yeah. And you know what's so funny too? I still haven't come across a Samoan that can break it down what Pure Malay came from and what does it
The
mean?
meaning of the word. Yeah.
Meaning of the word. That's how crazy it is. But that's what's being shown to the
Published.
world, and I haven't come across a Samoan that can tell me the origin of that word and why it's named and what it means. Isn't that crazy?
So
Interesting.
where's the word from then?
Some academic or someone came up with
Whoever
it.
found the place, I guess. It's almost like whoever found a new something gets to name the insect or the fish or the mushroom or the tree. They have the first dibs, and then the native people can figure out when they can advertise their own their own history.
Let's see if our grok can find us. What is the origin? I doubt it, but we'll see. What's the origin of the name Pule
Pure mere.
How is it? Do they spell it with a R or an L?
L?
Pelemeley. Pure mere.
Spell it again, Marcy.
Pule
Uh huh.
Yeah,
Meley. Pure
Oh, they spell it with a
mere.
Y.
No,
I.
I
Oh,
sorry.
Oh, this is what it says here. I'll share this.
What does the high price grok have to say?
Yeah, this grok better be worth it.
we'll
So,
compare that to what Gemini has to say.
okay. The Pula Malay Mound, also known as Tia Seu, Ancient
Mhm.
Mound, or Patonga, is the
Okay,
largest
okay.
and
Or not.
oldest known pre-colonial man-made structure in Samoa and Polynesia. It is a massive rectangular platform location. I want an archaeological context. What's the origin of the name? Origin of the name. No widely documented etymology or literal translation for Pule Malay appears in archaeological reports, Wikipedia entries, or public Samoan sources. It does not break down straightforwardly into common Samoan roots in available references. Example, Pule can mean authority, rule, or chiefly power, while Malay has no clear standalone meaning or obvious connection in this context. The name is the modern or traditional designation used locally and in scholarly literature for the specific mound. Alternative names provide more insight. Tia Seu
Yeah,
refers to it as an ancient mound or platform. Tia
kind of like the
often
Sia
denotes
Hey
a
Lupe
raised. Yeah.
in Tonga.
Pa Tonga. Tongan wall or Tongan enclosure is an older associated name, sometimes applied to the mound itself or nearby defensive territorial stone wall, kind of like the one in Uvea, right?
Yeah,
It's that thing's like kilometers long
Mm.
walls with a whole inner infrastructure. This may reflect historical Tongan Samoan interactions or shared cultural elements during the period of the construction, but it does not directly explain Pule Malay. The name Pule Malay likely stems from local Samoan oral history and place name conventions tied to the site's location, associated chiefs, or perceived function rather than a descriptive literal meaning. Samoan place names and monument names often derive from genealogies, legends, but the genealogies and the legends don't say anything about the name. In summary, while the mound physical origin and development are well studied through archaeology, the specific linguistic origin of the name Pulemele itself remains obscure in public records and appears rooted in indigenous Samoan traditions connected to the Palauli district and high chiefs. For deeper insights, consulting Samoan elders and Center for Samoan Studies at the National University of Samoa or detailed oral histories from Vailoa Palauli would be valuable as much traditional knowledge is passed down verbally. Did Gemini
Oh,
find anything?
It just references
so
Patonga.
yeah.
It just says Pulimele Mound, also
Put-
known. What you kind of read, Tiaseu is the
yeah.
largest and most ancient. Is located in the Tolo plantation on the island of Savai'i. Uh,
How
Oh,
about
you
this
know
one?
what? I
How about this one, Lee, on the screen?
I can't. I'm using my phone, so I can't read it.
Oh,
oh oh
it's Pule Siiti. Or how about this one? Pule Meleni.
no, I think maybe from what Gronk is saying, maybe the academic and the high chief of that area created the Pure Mere in a in an agreement. I get little something, you get something, and Pure Mere, and we'll keep it that way.
And is it Pulimere or is it Pulimerei?
No, it's Pule Mele. They don't. I don't think there's Whakaua there.
Just Pure Mere from my understanding. So I don't know. It looks like that's what I'm saying. I still haven't come across who dubbed that name Pure Mere, but like I said, could have been a the Samoa University in Samoa had a shake hand with the Chief Matai in Palauri or something, and this create the word, and we'll
Yeah,
keep it there.
yeah, and then the academic can write it in their paper and say
Yeah,
my reference is High Chief from what is it, Palauli, and name the High Chief.
Palauri.
That's my reference.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hmm.
Maubeginegi ma.
No, but it's clearly right. Like I'm sure the name Patonga didn't fall out of the sky. You know.
Yeah. That's
No,
the that is multiple locals who have referenced that name that the interview too and I saw. They've always referred it as the Patonga from the gentleman she said when she was young and then what she's heard. And she said this was the place where the Tuitonga would arrive and dwell at.
yeah. My favorite is when she goes, "Oh, I never heard the term Pule Mele
Puremere.
before," and I think she even says, "I don't know where they got it from." For us, when we grew
Yeah.
up, and then she
Yeah.
gives her side of the story. So very interesting. Well,
Very interesting.
I think that'll close us out. We're at the 2.5 hour mark. And I thought that would be a good way to close this with that Grok determination on the best location for a capital and origin point. But Masi,
Yep.
then Casual Observer will go in there. Closing comments.
No, another great live digital kava session. I hope our viewers get to take something out of this. I enjoyed the talking points. We talked about the modern um, affairs and stuff that's going on. Um, with the war and the the effects of the war with the oil here in New Zealand and throughout Polynesia and into the U.S. That was great topics, and we get to talk about the Polynesian history. I thought we had a great um, discussion going with what's going on now and talking about our history. So I enjoyed it. I hope all the viewers enjoyed it. I appreciate the comments and the cover bags, water bears, and
Yo,
everyone else who
malo.
contribute. Very appreciative of that, and you know We enjoy talking about these things, about our history and what's going on in our world, in the politics. And I hope you guys find it interesting too. Until the next one, see you later. Malo.
Malo, malo.
Oh. Sure. I kind of missed. I was looking for you guys on YouTube, couldn't find it. I don't know what was wrong with that, but I caught you guys on the Instagram thing. I was jumping in on the economics part for the
Mm,
economic development questions that you guys were talking about, and the access to energy, the availability of especially cheap energy necessary
mm,
for the economic development of a country and stuff, and how that's why oil is as important as it is, um, and why we're kind of going through what we're currently going through. But sure, I kind of missed that part of the discussion, but that's where I was going to kind of jump in. But this portion talking about the historical stuff was very good. Glad I got to spend some time with you guys.
mm.
Good topics for discussion. Malo.
Hey,
Oh,
Lee, make a plug. Have you published your podcast yet?
No, 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 not yet. Still kind of getting a little more familiar with the technology. Been a lot of travel too, but looking forward to kind of rolling that out, and kind of figuring out exactly the kind of the layering of that, of what the podcast is going to go out kind of layered with as well. We're working on some stuff with the state of Utah, state of Idaho, state of Nevada, on some things that are related directly with the podcast, and some things with the Olympics and the upcoming World Cup. So
mm.
Okay, okay.
yeah, yeah, just kind of sorting that out.
Awesome.
And where are you at, Lee? Are you where? You're in Big Island at the actual Mary Monarch where it's being held.
No, no, no. We were just watching. I'm in Colorado right now.
Oh, Colorado. Okay, okay, all right. Next door
Yeah.
neighbor from Utah.
Yeah, hopefully, if the weather gets better in Canada, I was gonna pop up into Calgary
Okay.
for a day or so, then come back down. But
Hey,
Go to the
Calgary.
Calgary
They could.
Stampede.
Yeah, I've been hearing
mm,
some talks. I don't know. We'll see. But they said Calgary isn't that the Alberta state
Alberta,
could
yeah, state of
that
Alberta.
could vote to get out if things get really bad in Canada and join the U.S. of A. But we'll see about that.
Hmm. Not likely. I mean, I still think it's a minority, but still a large minority. But
Hmm.
Canada needs to, because Alberta carries a lot of weight for the country,
Yeah, that's their
economically.
energy. That's their energy that
So,
feeds Canada.
um, it'll be, Canada has a bunch of issues that need to get sorted out. But
Okay.
yeah, we'll see. Uncle Donald. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff everywhere with NATO and Japan
Hmm.
and Korea and what's going on in Iran. Mm, yeah,
Hmm.
we'll see.
Interesting times.
Interesting
Interesting
times.
times.
Interesting times. But that's one of the thoughts that popped up when that I get Tahitian lady, Marcasian lady, the lady in French that was talking about, oh, let's just forget the religion and the politics and
Yeah.
unite around the culture. It's like, man, do you know how big religion and politics are in forming your kind of culture?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
That is the culture.
that
That
is
is the
just, I
call.
mean, it's like those are majorly important parts that kind of determine what exactly was going on in New Caledonia with the strikes. Or is there a bunch of political unrest issues going on out
Yeah.
there?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were
The
pushed
reason
back
why
against the French.
the French,
But
because
isn't
the
there
French
like a
run.
pretty strong like Chinese influence out there as well? At least Chinese money in some way. I don't know. Um, but I think the layers of some of the things going on in New Caledonia are pretty
Mm,
interesting. But it's kind of like, when you don't have to really run anything, then you just like, it's easy to say, oh, let's just all get
yeah.
along and be happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
It tells me you definitely don't come from a place that is significant to play a big role in politics and religion because that's what people who run the country are into.
Yeah.
What did you say, Masi? Fakakau or Fakamotu?
Fakamoto. That is a Fakamoto. That is a Fakamoto. It's so funny. Yeah. I find it. I've always heard it. But when you get out of Tongatapu, it's like come to other place, and then you're still like, "Masi." It's still even some Tongatapu thinking is still Fakamoto. But when that only makes sense when you're in America and other places like hey, Fakamoto. But when you're in Tongatapu and all the other islands come, is like Toeko Viangi Toi Fakamoto. When they come to
Uh,
Tongatapu. But it's
no,
just funny.
no, yeah, no, because it is kind of funny. Just you say just the different levels because a lot
Yeah.
of times when you see New Zealand behavior
Yeah.
looking from the US, you could almost say
Yeah.
it's
Fakamoto.
Atamai Fakamotu, even though, but
Yeah.
then you go from New Zealand to Tonga, New Zealand would look at Tonga Tapu and say Fakamotu, and then Tonga Tapu to the outer islands. There's always a bigger fish, there's always a bigger guy, whatever it is. But for me, my closing thoughts really do want to thank all the viewers and the listeners. Appreciate it. As we mentioned, we hit 2,000 subscribers. We continue to have paying members. We're getting close to 1 million views just on
On YouTube.
YouTube,
Yeah. Yeah.
and we're still on track for millions of views on Facebook. And really thank everyone. Please, every like, comment, share, it goes a long way to
Yeah.
continue the momentum. And really appreciate Casual Observer and Fale for joining us. And as always, we say be bold, right? Don't
Yeah.
be afraid to ask the hard questions, but always, always stay curious. Till next time. Mahalo.
Mahalo.